Hi, folks. Bob Manley here. You're listening to Real Sports Talk Radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No note.
Somebody's struggling. Welcome in. This is a little crossover edition of PHIX, AM and the PM, only on HUD Radio. We're all still live from our own little oasis. Dory's on the highway somewhere. Struggle turning the phone down, but listen, everybody has their first time. For some reason, the broadcast circled for 40 minutes. I felt like the circle button continued, and it didn't go live everywhere. So fun things happened early on. Sums up 2020, and guess what? Thumbs up the Philadelphia Eagles after 2 weeks. Welcome in again, everybody. A little AM and the PM PHIX crossover here, HUD Radio. We're going to talk later on the show. We'll give our predictions against the spread. We usually pick out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, we'll see. Sometimes we just keep picking them. Next thing you know, we did the whole docket. So we'll see where that gets to. Phillies, September collapse. Well, listen, they won a big one tonight. Now let's see if they can carry it. They got to win 3 more. They got to win 3 in a row now, here on out. And it's still, I don't know, controls their own destiny. So still got to hope other teams lose. So they put themselves in this position, or should I say their bullpen and GM did, ties into our Philly GM debate. We'll get into the worst GMs here in Philadelphia, and we'll rank them out. See who's the worst of the worst, which should be a really fun little game. You want to talk about riveting? The worst of the worst. That's where we're at here, Philadelphia. So good times. Excited to get into that and more negativity. Eagles versus Bengals preview. I'm sure that's going to be exciting here. I'm sure there's going to be, a lot of up tempo, a lot of excitement, a lot of positivity. I'm sure that's going to be exciting throughout this panel tonight. And it ties into our poll question, which is going to be even more exciting. And that's brought to you by Ambuck Services, AMBUCK Services.com. 20% off. Tell them everybody from HUD Radio sent you. Our poll, Carson Wentz is the biggest reason for the Eagles 0-2 start. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's where you can find us live, and everywhere you get your podcast, you can find us there as well. Let's talk about it, because this is going to be, I don't know, I feel like it's going to be a split panel here, and I feel like it's going to be split in the comments. So Carson Wentz is the biggest reason for the Eagles 0-2 start. Do you agree or disagree? The biggest reason? The biggest? If you called me on the phone and I didn't watch any Sunday and I had no clue. I didn't have a regular phone. You called me on a landline like back in the day, and I saw nothing. I'm in like the mountains.
With the spinnies?
I'm in the mountains like Carson Hunt.
But your Ralph and Ryan probably can't do the spinny wheels, the spinny phone.
No, probably not. And you call me on the landline and you say, Tom, Eagles gave up 191 yards on the ground. And I would say, how much did they lose by? Right? I mean, that would be what I would tell you back. That would be my exact thing on what I'll tell you back. Okay, now, has Carson Wentz played well enough? No, nobody can run from that. We'll get into that a little deeper in a few. But to the poll, the biggest reason, no, I disagree with that. I disagree with that completely. Because, again, you're talking about defense over the last 6 quarters that can't get off the football field. Right? And you're talking about an offense that, listen, I don't agree with trying to make him into a pocket passer. Like, let him be who he is. All right? Let him get outside the pocket. Right? Let him extend plays. Let him throw in the run. If things break down, he wants to run for 10, good. Learn how to slide right. Right? I can't take away what you do well. Right? You start taking away what somebody does well, and they're not the same person. We saw what Joel Embiid chokes out Karl Anthony Towns. It's like a choke fest. It's like a scuffle, and then they tell him, calm down, Joe. He stunk the rest of the year. All right? He wasn't good enough the rest of the year. Not stunk, but wasn't good enough the rest of the year. We all know what I mean by that. Okay? A little lethargic. Yeah, you can tell me all these things. Oh, he hasn't thrown the ball well. Okay, I agree. Okay, he's held on to the ball too long sometimes. Okay, yeah, I agree. right? But when you're talking about, I see people grading out Miles Sanders and grading him out good after week 2, and the first strike, boom, ball on the turf. Okay, so you're down 7-0. Then you rally back, you drive down the field, you put up 3, right? And then guess what happens? So it's 7-3. So you're feeling okay, right back in it, feeling better. Boom. That's an elite defense. I mean, somebody tell me that's an elite defense. At home, I don't care. There's nobody there. That's not an elite defense over the last 6 quarters. This is a bad football team right now as a whole. I mean, and I don't think they are, but as a whole right now, as they played, it's a bad football team. All of your money is up front on the defensive line. The most money in football. Like Joel talked about the other night, Greg, with us, it's the truth. And you get gashed that bad in the run game, and we're blaming everything just on one person. Just blame to go around. You circle the wagon with blame. Carson needs to play better, right? Wide receivers, I guess, need to get open because I'm not impressed with any one of them anyway to begin with. All right, I'm not impressed with anybody on our outside. It's disgraceful. Okay, and then you talk about our offensive line needs to do better, right? Our defense line's been atrocious, non-existent. Our linebackers stink. Okay, and our secondary's been right? So what? So you're just gonna blame one guy? Is he the leader? Does he got to lead this football team? Sure, but you expect what happened at the end of last year to continuously happen, where there's no weapons on the outside, and you expect him to be successful? All the good quarterbacks have a legit one, or they have somebody they big time trust. Who's this team's one? Deshaun Jackson? Grow up. Jalen Rager before another injury? Grow up. Who? JJ? Let's stop talking. Greg Ward, stay in Disney. You know what that one is for Cromer, right? So I mean, who? Hightower? Stop watching the draft. I mean, do I need to continue? The only saving grace is hopefully you get Halshon back and he's some resemblance of himself. I mean, that's the only saving grace. You put no assets essentially to go get a legit one. You go get a gadget guy. Well, Greg, Sweet messaged us earlier. We all agree with this one anyway. But what a gadget guy. What happens to gadget guys? They get banged.
They get hurt.
They get banged up. So, I'm not even going to put the blame on Howard Roseman because we know the blame's there. In this conversation, I'm blaming on this conversation, I'm going to blame the people on the football field for not getting it done. So it's a big wake up call this Sunday. We're gonna find out. I mean, I sat here and talked about Uncle Resiliency here, right? Well, this is do or die now. You can't go to 0-3. I don't care how you win. All right, you got to just win. You just got to find a way to win a football game, and hopefully it can spiral you into some more dubs, lead you into some more wins. But yes, your quarterback has to play better. But defensive front that you're giving buku hours to need to show the hell up too, right? So it's a combo. It's a combo to win in this league. Our turnover differential, the worst in football. The worst in football. That takes 2 sides to tango. That's 2 sides. So until your big money players want to come play defensively and your big money players offensively want to come play, this is why you're 0-2. When they want to come play, they decide to come play this Sunday, then this football team's going to be 1-2. It's that simple. There's no running from Carson not playing well, but the biggest reason, grow up. He could play better, but they did him no favors. We overhyped this wide receiver core coming in this year. We overhyped it.
Big time.
Not good
Big
enough.
Time.
Isn't good enough. Put a bunch of speed, gadget guy. They all run the same route. That helps your quarterback. Okay, people can tell me otherwise. I'll disagree with this poll all day and twice even after a loss on Sunday. Because they lose Sunday, that's another team loss then. That's another bad football team loss. So I expect 11 to come out and have a good game. But is he the biggest reason for the Eagles' 0-2 start? Carson Wentz is the biggest reason for the Eagles' 0-2 start. Do you agree or disagree? I led this party off. I said I disagree. Gentlemen, lady, who's going next?
Go ahead, Ralph.
Oh, Jesus Christ. God damn it. All right. Well, to me, I mean,
You want to have an ear infection again so you can not go?
It's for me. It's so
Shots
you could go
fired.
agree or you could go disagree with this one. I'm like in the middle. I'm 50-50. I can't pick a side. I just can't. With the way he's been playing and everything like that for the past 2 weeks, and obviously what happened with the defense last week. I mean, there's a lot of finger pointing going on and a lot of problems with this football team through 2 weeks. A lot. And you could even tell last week too. I mean, Carson's missing easy throws, man. He's missing easy throws. And then sometimes when he's throwing the ball and he's getting picked off, you're sitting there and you're wondering to yourself, what is he seeing there? Especially on the J-Jaw interception in the end zone. Okay? I mean, what are you seeing there? You're throwing to one of your worst wide receivers in the end zone, double covered. So, I mean, I understand you want to build trust with wide receivers and stuff like that, but I mean, Jesus Christ. And then the defense last week. Holy shit. I mean, we got nobody. And I mean, the linebackers can't cover me or you, Tommy. I mean, Greg, you would look like a Hall of Famer out there if you were for the Rams. I mean, Jesus Christ, they couldn't cover nobody. Yet again, the defensive line got no pressure on Jared Goff last week. None whatsoever. So, I mean, for me, it's 50-50. Some of it's on Carson and some of it's on the defense.
Yeah, it's on more than just the defense.
So I guess would that be a disagree then? If I'm going 50-50, I mean, I'll just go 50-50. I'll just stay 50-50. I'll do Frank's answer. I'll go 50-50.
What does that even mean?
That doesn't mean anything.
You can't do that.
Just
Even
because you
I'm
missed
not
a week
gonna
doesn't
say
mean
that.
you get to straddle. Bubble.
Oh, Tory down. Tory down.
Tory
Tory
down.
down.
Difficulty.
Tory down.
I can't. Yeah.
If you're saying 50-50, then it's a disagree then.
I mean, last week was hard to watch, boys and girls. I mean, it was hard to watch. Hard to watch. I mean, some of the passes last week were like, Jesus Christ. What are we looking at? And then the easy throws in the flat still get you like all crunched up, cringe out a little bit. Even from last year, the throws to the flat for Carson were off a little bit and missing wide open people. Yeah, there you go, 50-50. Sadness and regret.
He brought props. Nice.
My current mental.
I don't know how you can't be 50-50 on the poll. You either agree or disagree that he's the biggest reason.
What the hell? That's good.
It's a good point, Tom.
Right?
Good point. No, you're
No,
right.
you're right. You're right. It's just it goes hand to hand, though. I mean, your defense played bad last week, and your quarterback played bad last week.
So you
who played
disagree.
worse?
So you disagree then
What
it's
up,
not
Todd?
just Carson.
Yeah, it's not
So
just
you
Carson. I
disagree then?
disagree. It's just
Then you
it's not.
disagree.
It's not. Yeah.
Thank you.
I disagree. It's just not. There's a lot of go around.
Tough to
A lot
get
of go
you.
around.
Tough to get you to
That-
there. Babe. That was
Daddy,
the
you're still bothering you, huh?
Yeah, a little. We're all good
A little
here.
hard of hearing.
we
We're
call
all
it
good.
a lot of it. We call that a lot of it. All right, so we got two disagree so far. The Carson Wentz is the biggest reason for the Eagles' 0-2 start. The biggest reason. Agree or disagree? If you're just chiming in or getting in here, chime in. Let us know. We'll bring it up, read it, talk about it. It's another session on the couch for the family. Lay down, get it off your chest, and hopefully this time next week we're not having the same damn conversation. Because if we are, we're probably not laying on couches. People are probably jumping off.
Tommy, if we lose next week, I mean, I don't know if I'll be on next week. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, that if we lose to the Cincinnati Bengals next week at home, I'll punch myself in the face.
Can we get
Okay,
that on camera? Can we
We
get
have
that
to
Get
do
that
that
on
live.
camera.
Have to do it live.
Jesus, if we lose, I swear to God.
Yeah, Todd Womack. D-line is the most disappointing group. Yep, all your money's there.
Oh, big time,
Struggled.
big time.
Struggled. Nobody can get to the quarterback. I thought everybody's Javon Curse was going to get to the quarterback last week.
Oh, Josh Sweat.
Yeah, where
Josh
was he?
Sweat.
Where was Javon Curse last week? Everybody praised and loved all week. It was a blow fest for Josh Sweat. Turns out he's MIA. He's on a milk cart. Good to have you, Javon Curse. Thanks,
At
Bart.
least he was on side, unlike Derek Barnett again.
Yeah, again, right? Yet again.
Yep,
Derek Barnett, welcome to the season, D.
Yeah.
You're offsides. I disagree as well to the poll.
Wow.
I think it's a complete. Is Carson a blame? Yes, he's to blame. He does. He shares blame, but I think it's a complete team organization. Nobody has been good so far. Nobody. After those, first two drives of the, first quarter and first half of the second quarter in the Washington game, the entire team has underperformed and underperformed badly. The defense, as we pointed out already, was not existent. To hear Jim Schwartz say he tried to dumb it down for this defense kind of scares me.
Yeah.
When you think of all the veterans that are on this defense and you have to dumb it down and you can't give out specific instructions to specific guys or groups, that kind of worries me a little bit.
It's crazy.
So I don't know if that's just him sticking up for the guys. That doesn't sound like sticking up for the guys.
No.
That sounds like I have a bunch of guys that do things differently than I need them to do. And so I have to dumb down my defense, and we got exposed this week, right? Carson has to play better. No one has doubted that the first 2 weeks of the year. No one said any differently. No one's thought that he played well. Carson has to play better, but he is not the only and the most biggest reason for this spot.
No, listen, he hasn't played up to par at all. He hasn't been good. Nobody's good. Teddy, I see you down here chirping in. I'm the first to tell you he hasn't played good enough. But if you want me to quit on him, that's a different story. Like there's being honest. He hasn't played good enough. Got to play better. If everybody's got eyeballs, they can tell you that. All right. And then there's quitting on a guy. I'm not going to quit on him. I believe he can turn around, but they haven't helped him out again this offseason. But you know what I mean? Nobody. That doesn't mean you gotta run the guy, throw the guy under the bus, and quit on him just because he's part of the problem over the first 2 weeks. I mean, I think there's a logical way to have that conversation without running a guy out of town. So that's just how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this entire offensive identity as the biggest issue. I completely agree with what you're saying, Tom. You look at a bunch of, like we talked about, we were talking earlier about how much money we have into, obviously, the defensive line. And you look at the entire defense as a whole. And you look at this past week, and the one thing that was different as opposed to, the last handful of years, you can argue that was the healthiest this defense has been in quite some time. You didn't have any major injuries at all. You had guys returning and coming back, and they play like that. And that's why, to Greg's point, when Jim Schwartz was talking about dumbing it down, what are you dumbing it down for? These aren't backups. These are the guys that you brought in to be your starters. These are your veterans. These are the guys that you're paying Mr. Fletcher Cox up to $100 million for. Yep. But to me, I look at the other side of the ball just because we kept hearing over and over and over again all this offseason, training camp, et cetera, that this was going to be a dynamic offense. We were going to use explosive type play calls. There was going to be misdirection, way different ways to attack the opposing defense, whether that was a deep threat, whether that was the two tight end sets, whether that was motion in the backfield. You have numerous. I mean, they were telling us they were really high on all their running backs, even though two of them's a little guy and the other one's a Corey Clement. The other one they signed off the street, Mr. Huntley, who wasn't even inactive. So you see all of that, and then you see the first 2 weeks, but most of all this past Sunday, and you see Jared freaking Goff, a run offense by Jared freaking Goff is more dynamic. And I understand Cooper Kupp's a hell of a ball player. Robert Woods, hell of a ball player. Hell, their running backs, even the guys after that actually got hurt, they have some ball players there. They have talent. This isn't like the freaking Washington football team. They have talent on this team. This isn't the Jaguars. But where's the dynamic offense that we've been promised? That we went out and got all these gadget guys instead of legit football players, legit guys like either in the draft, like we know who we're talking about, either Patrick Queen or Murray on the defensive side, or even obviously you go up to our guy Jerry Jeudy, or even you talk about the ways that we passed of trying to go after a guy like Hopkins or Stephon Diggs or et cetera, guys who can fit in any offense, not a gadget or an explosive or a two tight end offense. I'm so sick and tired of them saying, oh, this is going to be different. What's different about it? I'll ask you guys a question. And Tom, you already know this, so I want to see if one of the other four knows this, and the fam at home. Do you guys know the farthest the farthest pass that was made by the Eagles this past Sunday? How many yards would you say?
12.
I'm gonna go 17.
Right?
Price is Right rules. I'll go 19.
Frank?
By the rules of Price is Right and His Holiness Bob Barker himself, I'm going to say
Frank
20.
wins 25. 25 yards with this
Bullshit.
explosive offense, right?
Yeah.
When can I play
And Tom,
Plinko?
to echo what you were talking about, I agree with it. I'm not trying to say that Carson can't play pocket quarterback, but the way that they're asking him to play quarterback and forcing him, we saw it last year. We saw it the year prior. We saw it especially the year previous to that. He's better on the run. We're not saying he has to be Lamar Jackson. Hell, I'm not even saying he needs to be Russell Wilson. But when you talk about not trusting your weapons to either get open or catch the football, and you have an offensive line that is in shambles, which played well, by the way, I will give them credit this past week. You know what's going to help your quarterback in this overall offense? Allowing him to get outside of the pocket and extend plays, which is going to help him because now that's a different threat against the opposing defense, and it's going to allow guys to get open. Mr. Arthega-Whiteside, Mr. I don't even know what the hell you're doing here. Something. I get it. We don't want this kid to get hurt. This kid, I feel like he's been in the league for 5 years. I can't even call him a kid anymore. This guy to get hurt. But as Tom, we were talking earlier, I don't care if this is reckless of me to say or not. I'd rather have 5 years of an A+ or even B+ level Carson Wentz, and then something happens where he gets hurt or whatever, than 10 years of whatever the hell this is.
Yeah, but why do
He's
you
not
draft this?
comfortable.
Why do you draft his replacement to leave him in the pocket then?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I'm just saying, like, I played a guy's skill sets, right? It can't be a scared leg, right? Nobody likes the injury concern. Injury concern all around football is 100%. So I got to let my guys play to do what they do best. And I'm not talking about him running all around. I'm talking about design rollouts. I'm talking about RPOs. You're right. I'm talking about some misdirection. How about that? That'd be fun. Okay. Right. I'm talking about if things break down, go ahead and run for 10 yards and slide down. Go ahead and run for 7 yards and slide down. Right. We're not talking about doing anything crazy here, but let him be the player he is. They try turning Donovan McNabb into a pocket guy. No, man, let a guy do what he does. Let him do what he does. Because if you try to just make a guy into something, I'm not a fan of that. And I'm not saying that Carson can't play pocket in the pocket because he can. Seen him plenty of times. But like when you want to get a guy loose at the quarterback position, you get him loose early on in games by moving him. Just move him around a little bit. Get an easy completion, right? And then the guy feels good. It's like throwing a first pitch strike. Boom. Now everything starts rolling. I don't know. That's my thoughts. So the poll question, Carson Wentz is the biggest reason for the Eagles 0-2 start. Agree or disagree?
That last comment was spot on, too, coming for you, kid, over there from YouTube. The Rams did exactly what I think we all kind of wanted to see more from Carson, right? Design rollouts, move in the pocket, some play action, stuff like that. Get Carson out on the edge, allowing him to make plays, whether, with his feet or just, throws on the run to guys breaking open from their coverage. Jared Goff torched us because of exactly what, we were hoping that we were going to do. And Jared Goff, what did he start? 14, 13 for 13, 14 for 14, something like that. And none of the throws seemed to be contested at all.
Yeah, he was Joe Montana. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all you got to do to get a guy comfortable early on in football. All right, and then things start going from there. Guys go wide open, right? I don't know. It's just simple. It just gets simple sometimes. And, it looks like we're either playing for the home run or that's all our wide receivers can really do is run the same route, which is disturbing too. Could have told you that on draft night. But that's a story for another day. We're not here to say I'm right, even though I am. But we're not here to do that. So to the poll, Carson Wentz is the biggest reason for the Eagles 0-2 start. Agree or disagree? Let us know, fam. Chime in. Tori, Frank. It's up to you guys now because at the end of the day, I think it was 4 disagrees so far.
Ladies first, because I'm super nice.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're like the Brady Bunch squares. I'm gonna go disagree as well. I'm a huge Carson person. I haven't given up on him yet, and I'm nauseated by the amount of hate he's been getting And it's not even after 2 bad games. He's been getting this hate for 2 years now. So I'm not going to act like this is new. People have been hating 2 bad games. I blame, first off, I'm going to say Howie Roseman. Like, coming from my therapy background, I know that this is sports are mental, especially football. People try to ignore that and say, like, you're weak because of, like, if you have a mental block. But he's living in the shadows of Nick Foles.
Well,
We lose Tori. All right, Frank, you don't have to be a nice guy right now.
Oh,
Tori's on the White Horse Pike.
So
Oh.
Carson Wentz is the biggest reason. This is like Taken. This is like Taken 2.
yikes.
He's like Taken 2. It just goes, where is she? There she's
Oh my
back.
God.
She's back.
Who's back?
We thought it was
Oh
like
my
Taken
God.
2.
All right,
You
all
did-
right. What? Dude, I suck today. All right. So, all right, can you hear
How
me?
you really feel. Yeah, go ahead. We hear you now. Heard that
All
one.
right. Jesus Christ. So,
Even Joyce, what's up?
all right, I
Where
gotta
you at in
start over
Minnesota?
again.
Oh, he did start over. I think he froze again on it.
Okay.
All right,
Frank,
Frank.
you go first. I'm trying to fix my Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course,
Bravo,
that's the
Bob.
biggest
What's my
reason.
legs, man? It's because I live near Philly.
To answer the poll, I disagree as well. While Carson does deserve some of the blame, he does not deserve all of it. If somebody resorts to that defensive performance and blame it all on Carson, you, sir or madam, are a lemon. So, first you got some of that failure goes to coaching. They failed to adjust. You look at the offensive collapse against Washington. You saw last week where the defense gave my fellow Hilltopper Tyler Higbee 3 touchdowns, probably the best game of his career.
Frank, Frank, not the time, Frank. Not
I
the
know
time.
it's not the time, but I got to mention it somehow, some way.
Yeah,
You
how'd they do against Liberty that week? How'd they do against Liberty
absolutely
this week?
terrible.
Yeah, there you go.
They looked terrible last week.
Very good, Greg. Very good.
I know.
Should've got-
Bibbity. How's Jerry Falwell doing? But the other thing too is
He's dead.
you know what I'm talking about. But you also
I
look
don't.
you also look at some of these coaches not holding the players accountable. These players and the coaching staff, they've been a little too comfortable with each other since the Super Bowl year. So there is not much accountability with these players when it comes to these mistakes. These coaches aren't doing anything about it. And also, you mentioned this, Ryan. They're making Carson something that he is not, and he is not a pocket passer. You got to let Carson do what he does best. And that means just give him the whole keys to the offense. Let him run for once. Please. And the other thing, too, is the roster construction as of right now. We've seen the many draft miscues. Everybody brings up DK and J-Jaw. You look at the next man up mentality. Everybody that's supposed to step up is not stepping up. So how this roster construction is right now, it's not great. We don't invest in linebackers. Our wide receivers, somehow, some way, they either drop balls or they get hurt most of the time. So we're starting to see the last of this Super Bowl team unravel. And it's pretty depressing to see. So for me, I disagree. And also my issue with Carson, he goes for the jugular too soon. He wants to make the big play. He wants to get up on teams early. We saw that in Washington. He throws the interception late in the first half. We look at the interception in the end zone last week. He just needs to make the right improvements. Please, he needs to step up. Everybody needs to step up. Crazy.
Frank's not upset, and none of us are happy. Not the start we were looking for here. After not having sports for a while, getting it back, NFL going off, boom, punch you right in the face. Tori, to our poll,
Okay.
Carson Wentz is the biggest reason for the Eagles' 0-2 start. Agree or disagree?
Here I go again. I disagree. So, like I was trying to say, with my therapy background, I look a lot into the mental aspect with sports, especially football, especially the quarterback. Like, you're the leader of the team. You're the way the whole offense moves. You're the leader. Coming out, Carson was on fire, right? And then Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl. That overshadows Carson. What do the Eagles do? They, in the midst of a quarterback controversy, everyone's still talking about Nick Foles years later. They draft a quarterback in the second round. Like, what does that do for Carson Wentz's mentality? Not only his mentality for, okay, you want to replace me, but also you don't care enough about me to get, maybe I wouldn't have been mad if they got another wide receiver. Even their first round pick, I'm not trying to like make this a draft show, but their first round pick, people were questioning that pick as well. Last year's wide receiver pick they picked, like, why don't they want to surround him with people that are going to succeed, is my question. So I blame Howie for a lot of it. Last week's game, I blamed the offensive line, also our wide receivers. This week was more so the defense. We didn't have any, which is a plus. But still, it's only 2 games in, but we don't have one wide receiver touchdown yet. Like, it's running backs, Carson Wentz, or tight ends.
Well, isn't that familiar?
So,
Yep. We've
That's what
seen
I'm
this
saying,
movie
like-
before.
Yep.
what is going on?
So I love these people out on Facebook, right? They want to tell me how the salary cap works and what you can't spend and blah, 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 blah. You can't get everybody one time. It's not Madden, right? But I could have got 2 things I want. I could have got 2 things I wanted in the last 2 years, okay? I could have got Jalen Ramsey. And just not signed Slay, okay? Right? And I could have, if I really wanted to, went and got arguably the best wide receiver at his position, DeAndre Hopkins. I could have if I wanted to, right? If I wanted to. I could have gave up Ertz. So listen, I could have given up Ertz and Sanders, got Ertz off the books, have his replacement in Goddard, and went and got the best, arguably the best wide receiver in football, still young, and the best corner in football, still young, and built my team around them 3 guys. Okay? Then start building your team around damn stars instead of gadgets. All right? And people can tell me how much they love this guy and love that guy. I don't care. I want proven talent because my GM can't draft them. And it's been well documented here. And it's getting disturbing after a while. And the fact that people just think that's an excuse because I say he doesn't have a 1, you people are jackasses. It's not an excuse. It's all football. His best year, 2017, guess what? Alshon, prime of his career. Alshon was a problem in 2017. Right? You give guys 1, it lets them unleash it. It lets them trust the guy because they know he's going to get open. They know he's going to get to the spot. There's more to it than this what the people think. Oh, he's this, he's that, he's a third. Well, there's a reason no wide receivers are caught touchdowns the first 2 weeks. And it could very well go the first 3 weeks. Could easily happen. So is that an indictment on Carson? Or an indictment on the skill position players on the outside on this football team?
Well, I'll ask you guys this too, because you're spot on, Tom. And I invite anybody, whether people, the people in here or the people watching, who would you say, without a doubt, the first 2 weeks is any player who's played well? The first 2 weeks, who's played well?
Tough to say that one. But,
I think it's different between the first 2 games.
Yep.
Nobody.
I don't think really anybody. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Tom. I don't think you really can pick any one person, right? Because I mean, like game 1, you can go Dallas, but we lost.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool story.
Game 1, Dallas, yeah.
But game 2, you could say Miles because he played well, but first play of the game
7 points.
throws you on the turf.
Yeah, he cost us 7 points.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the third play of the game.
I'm not that impressed by Miles Sanders at all, to be honest.
I would have traded for DeAndre Hopkins in a heartbeat.
And Clay, I have no idea what you're talking about, Clay. I don't know what you're saying.
Dude,
Did the
I
Rooster
trust
talk to you? I
Boston
don't know
Scott
what
with
you're
the ball
talking
way more than Miles. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know the statistics, but it seems like to me every time Boston has the ball, he gets more yards than Miles. I know Miles has a touchdown, but still.
Yeah, I love Miles. I'm just saying that if I could have got DeAndre Hopkins by giving it up Miles Sanders, I do that every day and twice on Sunday. There's never a time I don't do that.
No.
So, am I trying to win? Some guy told me earlier what his team's in rebuild. No, they're not. They're in rebuild next year. This is you go for it because you're up against
year.
it. Just clueless people out there. It's really a shame. So if you're just joining in, Carson Wentz is the biggest reason for the Eagles' 0-2 start. Agree or disagree? Let us know. Chime in. We'll get to some of these comments here because we've had a ton flying in. So, don't want to play too much catch up. Spidey says Ertz's value is going to hit the floor. Yeah, of course. Probably after this year, this all season.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
This past off season, you probably could have got the most you were going to get for him.
That's a good song for our season, actually.
It really is.
It's great.
Until we rattle off like 4 or 5 in a row.
When?
Next year. Cody
Yeah,
says
Next year.
Goddard in the first game. Yeah, he played good in the first game, but he played good in the first game.
Cody's been trying to stay positive. I saw a couple. Cody's been trying to stay positive, at least in the chat.
What's positivity? I don't know.
Well, we know that already. We know that. Tristan says, "What's up, man? What's up, Tristan?" Tony says Slay is somebody who's played well. I mean, I guess. I mean, when your defense has to get off the field in 6 quarters, I don't think anybody on the defense should be walking around saying they played well.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like Slay's played well, but we still don't have a pick, right? We don't have a turnover, so it's kind of like the whole Dallas thing. Like the Dallas Goddard in the first game, like cool, he played well, but we still didn't win. So cool, here's your ribbon. You know what I mean? Like,
but for last week, I didn't see many plays go to Goddard. That was my other issue was the coaching and the plays because Goddard got, I think, 8 catches the first game. He only had 4 passes the second game. Like, why is he not getting more plays designed for him?
I'll tell you why. I'm telling you, he's getting plenty probably of plays designed for him. But the problem is that they're taking the middle of the field away. They're taking the middle of the field away from you, and they're saying, "Go ahead and beat us on the outside." You know what I mean? They're telling you to beat you. The teams are now saying, "Okay, all right, we're going to take away the middle of the field. We're going to take away your tight ends." Right, and we're going to make your wide receivers beat us. And as you can see, now one of them is wanting to step up to the challenge the first 2 weeks.
And I don't blame that on Goddard though.
No, I don't blame that on Goddard. I don't blame that on Ertz. I just blame it on there's no skill position guys on the outside. I don't know how many times I got to say it. Red, you don't trade. Hold on, Red, you not trade. This is why we fall in love with our goddamn own too much. You ain't trading Miles Sanders for DeAndre Hopkins. Are you okay? Oh,
look at the running back position. Like, their shelf life is so much different than a wide receiver. Plus, this isn't just a wide receiver. This is the best wide receiver in football.
Yeah,
I think Kyler Murray is happy about that deal right now.
Absolutely. And I love it too, because you look at it and you say, oh, well, who's the running back going to be? I don't know. The guy that everyone's been obsessing over the past 6 weeks, Devontae Freeman. You're telling me I could have DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Freeman instead of Miles Sanders. I love Miles. I love him. I'm so glad he's an Eagle. But I mean, come on. You trade Miles in a package for friggin' Hopkins, and then you pick up Devontae. Or you sign Leonard. Nobody signed up for that. Come on now. Nobody dislikes Miles here. We love Miles. But like Greg said, we're talking about a guy who can change the offense.
And then the other thing, like Tom mentioned, is this year was go for it year anyway. So even if you don't, so you don't have to put money into D-Hop if you don't want to. Now you're an idiot if you don't, but all you had to do is trade for him for 1 year because you knew you're blowing this up anyway. Give it your best shot. Give him the best wide receiver in football, and let's go to work.
Yeah, I mean, Steelers fan saying, I still think they're Super Bowl contenders, making a joke of it. I mean, it goes right to what Todd's saying. I was expecting a dominant defensive front. I was expecting a dominant defense. I haven't seen that early on. I was expecting a better offense. Haven't seen that early on. Well, did see it early, and then it went away, and then saw it in spurts on Sunday, and it went away. So, I mean, I've seen spurts of it, but I just don't believe there's enough on the outside for this to be dynamic, right? Can it be good? Sure, but dynamic, I don't see it right now. I don't see it.
I mean, do we even have a defensive line? Because for these past 2 weeks, it seems like we haven't. I mean, I couldn't even tell you last time that we even got at least a pressure on a quarterback. Yeah, we sacked Goff 1 time, but that was it for the whole entire game.
Tom, Tom, I know how you feel, Tom, when people like don't listen to what's being said. I feel your pain, honestly. We're talking about a scenario, my brother. Nobody said he's available. My point is, everyone's saying, "Hey, who's going to play running back for you?" If you made the deal back in friggin' spring when there was a proposed deal, was Devontae available then? Matt 86, yeah, he was.
Oh, and then nobody said it's Madden, and you're telling me Miles Sanders human factor in trades too. He's important to the team. So Miles will be more important to this team than DeAndre Hopkins. Is this real life?
No.
Like, when did Miles Sanders become like the captain of this football team?
Miles Sanders missed week 1.
Where
right?
he's replaceable.
Did I miss something? Miles Sanders missed week 1.
Yep.
So already we're season 2. We're already talking about injuries and missing games. So yeah, he's important to the team if he's on the field. I think a number 1 legit best wide receiver in football is probably pretty bit more important to the team. No,
according to this fan base, because we love our own so much, it's unreal. It's actually nauseating, right, at times. And I love Miles Sanders, right? But when I can go get the best player in his position, everybody's up for grabs, right? A lot of things become available. That's how it works. Things become available when you want the best. So it's not a shot at the guy. People jump on you like, oh my God. Like, how could you? He's the pulse of the locker room. You follow him on Instagram? Like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And then another guy, not trading Miles Sanders. You would not trade Miles Sanders for DeAndre Hopkins this past year. You guys are serious right now. You all are serious right now. This is real life. This is real life. If that trade would go through and they said, yeah, we'll take it, you wouldn't do it. Joe, you just told me 2 guys who run around.
What? Hold the hell on. Stephon Diggs isn't the true number 1? What are you smoking? Smoking?
What about Julian Edelman?
Now he's going to tell me Derek Carr doesn't look good without a legit number 1. Derek Carr looks good without a legit number 1. For how long does Derek Carr look good for? A couple weeks here and there?
Have we lost our mind?
They also pound the football. They also pound the freaking football over there.
Dude, our number 1 is about to be retired, and our other number 1 is a rookie who's injured every week.
And he's already out 4 to 6 weeks.
That's our number 1 options.
You know who's coming back, baby. Jordan Matthews. He's coming back.
Shut up.
He's coming back.
That would be a record.
Man.
I'd rather have T.O. or Ocho.
Then Jordan Matthews?
Still got it. Stop.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Would you rather have Jordan Matthews or T.O. or Chad?
T.O. all day. T.O.
Chad or T.O.
So we got Titans fans that are even saying they would do it.
Yeah,
because they know what it is to want a wide receiver. They got one now.
Everybody,
AJ Moore's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Deshaun Watson. You think he doesn't want D-Hop back?
Doesn't look the same, Greg.
Nope.
Deshaun Watson looks like a shell himself.
He looks lost.
He looks lost without his wide receiver.
And now everyone's talking about Kyler Murray for once. So, what are the why?
I
mean,
maybe
14
best
is a week 1.
wide receiver in football.
Oh my God! Yeah. We got guys that are saying they don't want DeAndre Hopkins, but they want to trade for Allen Robinson. Does anyone see the disconnect there?
Huh.
Does anyone? Okay, so Hopkins, no Hopkins, but we're going to trade for Allen Robinson.
Listen,
Who wants to get paid? Who wants to get paid like he's DeAndre?
I can't. You guys can deal with this for a little bit. I literally cannot do this. I cannot afford to blow the roof off of this place. I will air this chat out tonight that you freaking idiots would not trade for DeAndre Hopkins. And with all due respect, I'm going to call everybody an idiot because if you don't make that trade, that's just being too homerish. Too homerish. Wake the frig up.
And Clay, I love you, but again, this goes back to you didn't listen to the words, Clay. We're on replay. You can go back and listen 24/7. I was saying dynamic playmakers, projected dynamic playmakers. Were you coming in 2 weeks ago and saying, oh man, this team is going to have a dynamic offense? Clay, you sold half the team, Clay. I'm not taking a shot at the Jaguars. I'm so happy for Gardner. So happy.
Hold on. Clay, I love you, but another hot start for Gardner. How'd that age last year? How did they age?
So upsetting. And I understand this city is in shambles because of this team. Or we don't know what to do. We don't know what to say. Frank, I can't read that. I don't know what to. But come on, guys.
We got 14 more weeks of this.
Do we?
14 more weeks.
Do we?
If we lose next weekend, it might be all done.
But honestly, like somebody was saying last week, somebody was saying the first 2 weeks, Slay, you could argue, played well. Okay. Do we agree with that? The first 2 weeks, he's played well?
Yeah,
he played okay.
He's played well.
I mean,
played okay.
He missed half the second game. Is he okay to play this week, actually? I haven't heard anything about him.
I didn't see him on the injury report, so that's always a good sign.
I'm just used to people popping up on the injury report, though. Like I don't trust it.
What is this? Bobby Eagles. I would trade Sanders for some scratch tickets and pull AB off the couch. Why can't we develop some of these running backs? Don't we have the greatest coach in Deuce Staley, right? Like Tom said, since we love our own so much, that's true. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, but again, going back to the whole trade, that was the one position on this team over the last few years that has shown the ability to get the most out of guys that don't necessarily have a whole lot of name value, right? So they've turned the likes of people love Boston Scott now, right? People love, we got the most out of our running back room because
and even Elijah Holyfield. Everybody's on the Elijah Holyfield train and the Adrian Killings train and the Michael Warren train.
Because, though, Deuce is able to get the most out of those guys. So if any group was able to take a hit and trade, a star back, it would have been the running backs because we could have plugged in and allowed Marcus. Would have allowed
my whole face here.
I'll get to that in a second. Finish
up. That was it. I think Deuce would have been able to make up for potentially getting rid of Miles in this hypothetical down the road.
Yep. So Mr. Marcus, he goes on a list. He says Wentz has to do better, point blank, period. But it's a shame all the young quarterbacks have legit weapons at receiver, and how he continues to let Carson throw to average / subpar guys. And don't say Deshaun Jackson, he's old as hell. He actually played with McNabb, and his Wentz is number one. That's pathetic. Murray's
that does make him sound old.
What was that, Tori?
That does make him sound old that he played with McNabb.
Very. Hopkins is obviously with Kyler Murray, with Fitzpatrick. Dak Prescott's got Cooper and Lamb and Gallup, so he's got 3. Goff has Woods, Kupp. Baker has Odell and Landry. Obviously, Allen has Diggs and Brown and Beasley. Burrow's got A.J. Green. Like, talk about the Joe Burrow that we're going to see on Sunday. I mean, they have too many receivers. You have A.J. Green and Ross and Boyd and Higgins, and then you have so many. Drew Lock, Jeff Driscoll might be better than Drew Lock. He's got Sutton and Judy, Hamler, Mahomes. You see what he's got, and he doesn't even need them.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got gadgets.
What do we have, actually, though?
We have
gadgets and a Stanford basketball player.
We have Hurts as a decoy. We have Jalen injured. We have D-Jack playing 77% of the snaps, but I don't see him out there. JJ Arcega-Whiteside. How could you forget?
Yeah. Joseph, y'all are saying, quote, we fall in love with our own. Meanwhile, you're making excuses for Wentz. When do we make excuses? But I'll continue.
No, made an excuse for Wentz at all.
Week 1 wasn't his fault. It was on the O-line. But week 2 was 100% on Wentz. The O-line played great. Doug made good play calls. Are you kidding me? But to get the ball out of Wentz's hands early, and the running game was awesome. Really? It was awesome? Really? Are we sure? Epps, Gary, and Wentz are all the reasons we lost in week 2.
Well, that doesn't sound like Wentz is 100%.
And also, the
reason that we lost, if there's 3 guys listed, so that he would be 33% of the reason we lost.
And that's just flat out ignoring the fact that we couldn't get to kind of a
Jared Goff.
And, I'm talking about both weeks, too. Like, neither of them are mobile quarterbacks. Haskins can be if he wants to. Like, we're going to talk about the defensive line?
No one's made an excuse for Wentz. Everyone has sat here and said he's played terrible. Everybody said it.
And we pointed out his faults over the course of the show.
No one's making an excuse. It's just you mentioned you said it was 100% on him, and then you go forward to mention 3 different people as to why they lost. So that would make it not 100%.
Exactly.
What is this? I mean, I don't know how many times I got to say it. Like, and week 2 was Wentz's fault, even though the Rams damn near scored 40. Like I told you guys, if you call me and I'm in a cabin somewhere and you call the landline, tell me that we give up 191 yards on the ground, I'm going to tell you a million times and ask you the question: how much did we lose by? Every single goddamn time. So is this on Wentz? Absolutely. But is it big time on your defense too? Yes. So until they start wanting to get stops, it's not going to be a point the finger at one person.
And week 1 was just.
This is what Wentz has done. He's turned it around last year when he was playing sloppy. So the proof of him turning around is there. But again, I'm not going to keep continuing to say we haven't helped him, because it's just going to become a nauseating conversation. All right. Now he's got to step up and make the guys around him better, like the quarterback we know he can be. That's what it comes down to now. I said Des Bryant earlier. I would take Des Bryant a heartbeat. People laugh at that. I'll take him better than what we got outside.
Yep. I'll bring him in.
Videos.
Let's go. Give him what he wants.
Yeah, and if you go back to the Redskins game, you win, that's losing the team. Yeah,
Exactly,
well,
Will.
you're absolutely right. Well,
Exactly.
you win and lose the team. I hate these 100% fault guys. Have you ever played a team sport? Probably not. But if you go back to week 1, if the defense gets one stop in the second half against that Redskins or Washington football team offense, now granted, short field, right? It happens, but you get a stop there, that game changes. You might win that game because now they don't score 27 unanswered points.
No, you're right, Greg. I mean,
you might be on to something there, buddy.
Listen, I'm not trying to lose out, period. You know what I mean?
Why are we tanking when we don't trust the guy who's making the picks?
No, you're absolutely right.
He'll reach for some project who's played 1 year of football, and we're going to say how, all the tangibles, and this is what we're going to go with. This is what we're going to go with.
Thank you. So, we talked about this earlier, Tom, and thank you. This reminded me. Everyone wants to talk about the offense, and I talk about the offense, but let's talk about the dreaded linebacking situation. We already knew it sucked, but you see, as bad as humanly possible, they played on Sunday, and your prized 3rd round pick that you had to have. Of course, you had to take a quarterback first and a gadget wide receiver first instead of who, Mr. Delvecchio, who's going to be probably a Hall of Famer in Baltimore?
Patrick Queen.
Yeah. You take Davion Taylor. And then you look at Nate Gary, and you look at all that slop on defense, okay, in the linebacking core. Your prized 3rd round pick, he gets on the field for 8 snaps. If you can't get him on the field during that game, and I don't give a damn if he's played a year of football, if he's a rookie, I don't give a damn. You picked him in the 3rd round. You can't get him on the field for more than 8 snaps? What are we doing?
Listen, he needs to play. He needs to be on the football as a 3rd round pick with this linebacking core. He should be on the football field all day. Okay, so people want to tell me in Facebook convos, well, Tom, he's only played 2 years of football, legitimate football. Not my problem. And he's not a 3rd round pick. And he's not a 3rd round pick. That's how that works. Then, so you make the point for us when you say that. Okay, this is the business of reach city when the guy who's reaching isn't good enough to be even reaching.
By the way, my bad, Tommy. Go ahead.
Talk.
Real quick. Patrick Queen in his 2 games, 17 tackles, 11 solo tackles, with a quarterback sack and a forced fumble. It's only been 2 games. Okay, I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer. He's an All-Pro already. It is what it is. I mean, and then we see our linebacking core can't cover me or Greg, and you saw what happened week 2.
Well, listen. When you can sit on a chair like we did on draft night and have a better goddamn draft, that's all I need to know. Okay.
Yeah.
When guys that I don't even, when there's 42 people on the panel, and let's say a third of them I wouldn't trust them with my draft ever, and they have a better draft than you. Okay, now you guys are looking in the goddamn mirror. I'm not
talking the computer pick. The computer had a better draft when we were just watching the simulator.
Like guys on Facebook can just post their drafts and have better drafts than you on like the simulated picks online, and they come out better than you and smelling like roses. and they're the people you usually mock. And this goes on again. And Tori's right. Nobody wants to talk about it. Okay, people say there's some tension. Maybe Carson's not listening to coaches, whatever. Right? You've heard them rumblings. Well, when you draft my replacement in the second round, I might not be listening to nobody either.
Yep.
Just saying. Call it an excuse. I'm just telling you. Listen, we're all men.
That's real life, though, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, these are men with egos, man. You just
Anybody-
my replacement, kiss my ass.
Egos or not, you get on the bad side of your boss at work, and you want to. They tells you to do something, you're like, yeah, whatever. I'll do whatever I want. That's just real life.
And even if you're not even trying to, like I said, the whole mental thing, like these things come out unintentionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's just playing like not 100% supported, and it shows.
Yeah, would you be? I mean, you want to listen? I have no time for Zach Ertz coming out and whining and complaining about his contract.
2
but
years left on a damn contract.
Yeah, but the day after the year after you were a Super Bowl hero, they drafted a replacement in the second round. So I mean, you know,
it's true.
Look what you're doing. I mean,
Dude, him and Wentz are gonna go somewhere else and win a freaking Super Bowl.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I
Don't do
would.
that.
File it.
Why we're stuck with a gadget.
Clay, you're absolutely right, man.
Yeah,
And
could
I
you
know
imagine? Could you
I
imagine?
know Brian brought up the comment before that about LJ Fort. Yeah, he looks pretty good in Baltimore, right?
I think we're
Scored
still
a touchdown
paying.
this
He looks
last week.
really good. Really good in Baltimore.
I think we're going to be paying him in
Ridiculous.
a couple weeks to play against us. Because he's still
Yeah,
getting
we play them soon.
Yeah,
Dude,
yo. Yeah. I'm counting down the minutes.
Two defenses used in the last 2 years use high round selections on linebackers. All right, I'm not even talking about Patrick Queen yet. Okay, I'm looking at the Buccaneers and I'm looking at the Steelers. Right, I'm looking at two organizations over the last 2 years that use high picks on linebackers, and look what both defenses have done. Right, the Buccaneers were ever let Quan Alexander walk out the door, and their defense is still pretty good defense. Why? Because they have a legit middle linebacker. You win up the middle in sports, right? So you can put all the assets you want in your tackles, okay? But you can't have nobody behind them, man. I mean, that's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that you're willing to spend that much money up front, but the back end of that doesn't matter to you. That's a flat out disgrace.
JT.
You should be fired on the spot.
JT's not replaceable or just replaceable.
I'll take JT
That's a great
with that question.
Also, who do you get rid of, Matt Klentak or Howie Roseman?
Yes.
No.
Both.
That'll come up. That's in the GM game later. Don't worry.
I know. Can't wait.
It'll be all three.
I have that conversation inside my own head every day.
What? Same. Relatable.
Yup, Prism says Cardinals drafted Isaiah Simmons at 8, the Swiss Army knife of the past draft. You know, like teams address the middle of their field. Teams address their outside. You don't go get me a gadget guy at 17, man. You can like Jalen as much as you want. All the freaking junkies can come tell me how great he looked on goddamn tape, and I'm going to tell you he's never going to be a 1. A bona fide 1. Can he be a legit 2? Can he go over 1,000 yards? Can he do some really good things? Sure. I'm sure he can. Right? But I'm going to tell you, he's not going to be the ones of this draft class. He's not going to be the bona fide ones that can win, that are great route runners, right? That can go up for footballs all day, that can go in the traffic. Okay? So can he prove me wrong? Sure. I hope he does. But anybody out there with a straight face tells me that's a legit 1 and not a gadget. I got major questions.
Like somebody said here too, he could have been there in the second round. So why your first round pick?
They panicked. They weren't sure of themselves. Or you could have just trade back, grab them, and then get some more assets that you can use on a friggin' backup quarterback or something. You know what I'm saying? Trade back to 28. Again, like we talked about in the moment, it was an off-season of missed opportunities, and we're seeing it. You go with all this gadget, we're going to make believe, we're going to coach up the team when you don't even have a damn offensive coordinator, when you could have had legit guys when you're trying to win now. It doesn't matter that the salary cap next year is going to be 60 or 80 or 100, whatever the hell it is, because it's next year. What matters is now. You saw in 2017, you know what you did? You signed a bunch of one-year deals that didn't roll over. You know what then you got? A bunch of young, hungry ball players that were playing for contracts. It's freaking common sense. Like the fact that we've already have this GM 3 times before even week 3 begins, that, hey, look, bye, Tori down, that you have, hey, don't expect us to make any big-time trades or signings because we want the cap to roll over. Okay, so you're saying, hey, if we're on the doorstep of winning, but we're one injury away, we're just going to chill. So you're just going to lay on the beach then? You're going to sit? You're going to quarantine from doing your job? It's ridiculous.
He's done his job exactly like Matt Klentak, right? And that's halfway in. You can't be halfway into winning because you won't win, right? You might go to the playoffs, right? You might dabble in the postseason, but you're not going to win the ultimate prize by being halfway in as an organization, okay? And you can tell me playing Madden, you can tell me doing whatever you want, but I could have made them trades and still had my cap around the same situation and went out and got Jalen Ramsey last year, went out and got DeAndre Hopkins this offseason and built my roster around
That's so true.
those 3 guys.
That's so true. Golden Tate for 4 catches. That's so true.
Thank God one of them was in the playoffs. Thank God.
Yeah, that was our number 1, guys. That's how they really went out and addressed it, right? That's
they got him weapons, all right.
It's just unbelievable.
I'm telling you, and Tom, go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, back to Prism's point about Simmons in Arizona, they were able to make that pick because they traded for Hopkins. And you drafted Kirk the year before, and you saw his development, and you had one of the arguably the greatest wide receivers of all time still being a productive member. So you knew your outside was shored up. Now you can focus on your defense. The year before that, they took the linebacker out of Temple, or 2 years before that, they took the kid Reddick out of Temple, who's still making plays. So they've been constantly beefing up their defense and especially their linebackers, but they were able to do that because they've addressed the outside.
They've addressed the 3 inside line, their linebacking core, in Jordan Hicks and Hassan Reddick and then Isaiah Simmons. So, you know what I mean? They addressed it. They flat out went and addressed it. And, credit to them. And it's a smart general manager down in Arizona. I know nobody talks about Arizona, but it's a smart guy down there. And that'll start really showing signs of life after this. I mean, just look at the difference of the Houston's offense without DeAndre Hopkins, right? Somebody tell me the difference, because it's drastic. So, when you're talking about top 5 guys and the chance of getting them kind of guys are slim to none, and when they come available, you almost got to be all in.
Yep.
And Tom, you're spot on. And again, people can laugh and they can say, "Oh, it's ridiculous." But again, it's not like you want it. It's not like we want it, but it's what this GM and this organization has forced upon us. Now we need to rely on Alshon Jeffrey whenever he comes back. They're saying early October, which in Eagles terms, that means late October. That you look at it to where we need him to be the guy, something close to like he was in 2018 and 2017. Before, if we would have established an identity with this offense starting in the draft and free agency and et cetera, you could have used, hey, we're bringing you back because we need to use you because we don't want to obviously have all that dead cap space. We're not going to be able to trade you. If you would have gotten a Hopkins, or just forget the Hopkins, just fill in the blank, solidified wide receiver who could be a legitimate one. Then you could have,
like DK Metcalf. Right? Just draft one time, hit on one.
Exactly.
I mean, let's look at this, guys. Let's look at it. Let's take a peek. Andre Dillard. Okay. JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Sucks.
Jalen Reagor.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
Probably sucks. Decoy.
That's your
distraction.
That's your last 4 picks in the first and second round. That should be bona fide starters for your football team. They should be impact, at least contributors for your football team. Never non-existent. So Bobby's saying here, coaching is my biggest problem with this team. Why is it that players leave here and somehow play better or develop into starters? Why can't we develop? I don't agree.
So true.
I'll agree with that. I don't agree with that. I'll agree with that with Philly under Gabe Kapler and that regime, but I can't agree with that with the Eagles. I think then we really disrespect this coaching staff, who's won a lot of games with nothing.
It's because Aguilar had 1 catch.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson Aguilar had 900-plus yards here under Doug Peterson. 1 year. So can we act like? Guess why? You know why? Because there was a legit number one wide receiver on the goddamn outside. That's why. So why did his production go down the years after? You know why? Because you try to put him in a role he's not. That's not him. You try to make him into a 2. No, he's more of a 3, a 2-ish, right? But only if you have a legit 1. Everything changes with a guy you're scared of on the outside. The whole defensive scheme changes when you got to respect the guy on the outside. All right? It's easier to game plan for double tight end sets than it is for outside firepower.
That was the name. Going back to it, like if we want to talk about realistic free agent, that's the guy.
Well, and also
He's awesome. He's awesome.
Also in the offseason, I mean, how many times were we linked to multiple players and we came up with nobody?
Well, Robbie Anderson, correct me if I'm wrong, Ralphie, because it feels like we've been talking Robbie Anderson and the Eagles for like 2 years.
If we just were the pieces and all the pieces that we've said, which some are crazy, some are realistic, but I think all could be done. If we just put together our own team over the last handful of months after last year, right? Just after this past year, we're probably 2-0.
Absolutely, we are because we're drafting a linebacker or a grown-up wide receiver. We're not drafting a backup quarterback or a third-string quarterback or a wide receiver as we saw on Sunday. Well, again, like we talked about, and this is why we were worried coming in. It's a contradiction of identity. You get all these project players while your salary cap is stuck. You talk about, hey, we believe we have a long-term window, but really your money and your trades and the fact that your star, tight end is saying, hey, I want money even though I have 2 more years left on the contract. Everything's pointing to, like, the facts point to you need to win this year. But their illusion and their minds are saying, oh, no, we have about a 5-year window. No, you don't. You don't. Unless you're going to sell everybody, which then you're going to have a brand new roster and you're not going to have any chemistry whatsoever. You had a core. You had a solidified core for 5 years where everything, you didn't have to pay a penny for 5 years and you went backwards because you tried to be cute.
My thing, though, why do they have no chemistry? Like, it's the same quarterbacks, the same coach. There's a couple of the same pieces and they have worse chemistry than they did a year ago.
I agree with that. I agree.
I think the 2 guys you rolled out as your 1 and 2s didn't have much chemistry. Like on your outside, in Deshaun and Jalen, like there's not a ton with Carson with them 2, or like it's a little bit small sample size, but still, you're right. I mean, other teams can do it. Why do we struggle with looking like we have major chemistry issues?
They can do it with no time together. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
What up, Pop?
What's up, Pop?
What up, Pop?
Yeah, I mean, Tom, let's go back to that little game you were playing, right? So the year before Dillard and Miles, you had only 1 pick, and that was Dallas Goedert in the 2nd round. The year before that, you had Derek Barnett and Sidney Jones, and I know there was a name someone dropped earlier about a Mr. Kenny Galladay, who we picked Sidney Jones over Kenny Galladay. But to that, so far right now, you've only hit on Miles, Dallas, and that's about it, right? I mean, you can make a half for Barnett because he's at least playing, but but that's it. Those are the last 4 years, 1st and 2nd round picks.
This is a great question for Bobby.
Not a good ratio. That's
yeah,
not a good ratio.
And I was having Bobby's question. I was having the same conversation with my father yesterday about it, and we were talking about it. Like, who are like the young? Not even young, but who are the guys that have been developed? I feel like I'm talking about the Phillies pitchers. I said the other day, the only person who you might be able to argue is Jalen Mills. That's the only guy that you can argue it.
Jalen Mills was a 7th round pick.
And I say
on the defense, right? So then you go, the next year was Sidney, Rasul, Gary.
Gone,
sucks.
Yeah.
The next year was Josh, Avonte Maddox, and Josh Sweat.
Hall of
I'm in a
Famer.
movie theater right now. Hold on. I feel like I'm in like a movie theater. Like I'm sitting back watching a fucking the worst documentary of all time.
Are you eating popcorn too?
No, I'm just in the movie theater.
Like you would be in a movie theater.
Yeah, watching literally the worst documentary you could ever imagine. You know,
how did not draft a winner?
Had a
That'd be a good documentary.
Well, we're 3 years. Oh, go ahead, Greg. Go ahead.
No, you said last year, Sharif Miller, not even on the team anymore.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a 4th rounder. And then this past
And
year,
a
obviously.
historic defensive draft class. But we drafted
of course,
everybody on
you got-
offense.
You got this year, we got Davion Taylor, can't see the field yet.
Sucks.
Kayvon Wallace, Sean Bradley,
He's okay.
and Casey Toohill.
Who? Yeah, I'm sorry. Who?
Those were our defensive players drafted since 2016.
So who have we developed?
Not a lot.
And you can, I don't know if you can even count Bills because Bills was talented at LSU. He was just his draft got dropped because
Tom's pet
because of
cricket.
the off the field stuff. You know what I mean? But you're right. I mean, who did you? Nate Gary was a 5th round pick. I mean, if he's a starter now, I mean, I guess
wish
you
the
could
cricket
say you
had a
developed
seat.
that, but nobody. The answer
It
to that
needs like a
question
lawn
is
chair.
nobody.
And I think like two people from like the 2017 draft are like still on the team, or they might be only down to one person.
Mhm.
Well,
That
that would
draft
be
class.
Barnett and Jerry.
So 2.
So do you think that's so now we're taking the blame away from Howie and we're putting that on the coaching staff?
I think it's both. I think is there? Can I say
both.
both? Can I say both?
I mean, I'll actually come to the aid of the coaching staff in this one and be like, you have to have talent to develop talent.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? You have to
Yeah,
have
that's true,
some
that's
talent.
true.
Like, I'm not gonna, as much as I hate Doug, right? As much as I hate Doug, like, I'm not gonna lay this at Doug's feet when you're giving him a bunch of slot to develop, especially on the defensive side. You know what I mean?
Listen, pure talent shines through.
Yeah.
Do we think that Doug
And
has
then-
any say in this draft? Or is it all Howie?
I think Doug
Good question.
has a say, but Howie makes the final moves.
Yeah, because Doug's a football guy. Like I can rip and take shots at him like in his in-game adjustments, but the guy knows football. He knows talent. I think it's a Howie and Jeffrey Lurie show, to be honest.
Yeah.
And whoever friggin' talking heads they have in the back office.
And that's a
You know
freaking
what?
shame.
You know,
And
yeah,
that
you know
makes
what?
for a
You know
not
what?
happy
You know what,
coach
Mike and
and a
Mike?
not happy quarterback.
Exactly, Dory. You want to know why there's dissension from Howie down with Doug now? Because Howie's back to being Howie again. Howie's back to the guy who needs to get put back in the fucking closet again. Okay? Because now he's getting a little puffer chest. And the worst thing that happened for this nerd was to win a Super Bowl. Because now he thinks he's the smartest guy in the goddamn room, and he's not. Okay? Newsflash. You couldn't. Oh my God. You couldn't draft if somebody gave you the first 10 picks in the draft, you would find a way to miss out of 9 out of 10. You would miss 9 out of 10. All right? Because that's how atrocious you are. All right?
He would pick a 3rd rounder in the 1st round.
Yeah, he'll take a reach. Like, well, we got plenty of picks. Got an assortment of picks. So
That's spot on, Vincent. That's spot on.
Yeah.
Panic. Again, we can look back on every year and say, oh, their guy was taken. We panicked.
doesn't he look
And
like
Al Pumphrey instead of Kareem Hunt.
Doesn't he look
He's
like a
absolutely
panic
a
guy?
panic guy. Yeah.
Like,
How
he's
do
a
you
panic
panic?
room
Like,
guy, too. He's a panic room guy. Like, he likes to get tied up, Tor. You know what I mean? Like, he's a panic room type guy. I can just sniff it all over him. He's a weirdo.
He's got
He
safe
probably
words.
has a
He's got
cat.
safe words.
I bet
He's
you
a
he has a cat.
safe words,
He
all right.
definitely has a cat. He definitely has a cat.
Definitely has a cat. And he goes to Disney
And he's-
World.
And he's got safe words.
Calls it jingles. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's a weirdo.
Oh. His safe word is Jalen Hurts.
Hurt
His
me?
safe word is Sidney Jones.
Oh.
Oh,
But it's just
Howie
sad.
fucking sucks.
And they, like, to say that we don't develop. I mean, again, you just need to. If you draft legitimate talent, there's nothing to develop. I mean, you still got to coach guys up on Sunday, but you know what I mean. Like, there's nothing to develop. Like, these guys will still be on your roster. Like, you know what I mean. If they're just pure talented guys, like Alden Smith was out of the league for 17 years. Okay, but just a pure talent alone gets another gig. You understand? Like a scumbag out of the league for a long time and gets another gig. Why? Because he's just big time talented. That's how it works.
Yep.
Talent's always going to shine through scheme, right? It's that simple. You can make the dumbest coordinators look good with pure talent. You know? So that's how I always look at that one.
Ryan, you're right. Start playing the
John
theme music.
Dorsey? I don't know if we want to follow the Browns. I don't know if we want to do that.
No,
They're
I would
not
stick
looking so bad this year, though.
I would stick away from anything Browns related. But I mean,
Yeah.
They
I don't
got a
mind.
better record than us.
Except for Sonny Weaver Jr. I'm down for Sonny Weaver Jr.
I'm down for Sonny Weaver too, but what I'm down for is just a football guy running draft day. He can run everything else. He can handle free agents. He can handle a cap. He can handle roster construction. But he cannot handle the draft. Okay, that's where he's proven
And some NFL teams have it that way in their front office where they bring in cap guys just for the draft. They have their cap guys, and then they have a whole other room with their draft guys and all the prospect board and stuff like that. Guys that can actually look at talent. Why we do that? Why we haven't done that, I should say, is beyond me.
Yep.
Beyond me.
Yeah, it's beyond all.
Adam Rush. Adam Rush, you're spot on there, bud.
Yep.
I'll take anybody from the Ravens.
Exactly, Tristan. What cracks me up is he said he drafted Hurts because he didn't want to miss on another Russell Wilson. If he had any confidence in Wentz, what would that matter if he passed on Hurts? Exactly. It's all lies. It's all friggin' lies.
Russell Wilson. Yeah, go ahead, go.
No, I was just going to say that this is the same guy, Howie Roseman, to where after they made those last 4, winning games in 2019, this guy's comparing Wentz to friggin' Patrick Mahomes. But then 3 months later, you're talking about, we saw a guy 6 years ago that we wish we had, but we didn't get him. Now we're going to take a guy who kind of could be him in like 7 years, and he's probably going to be on his second contract. So
why can't he do that with wide receivers, though? Like, I missed on DK Metcalf. Let me draft an okay wide receiver. Like, how about he learns on that aspect?
Because he doesn't know what he's doing, Tori. He doesn't know what he's doing. That's why.
Russell Wilson, also a baseball player, great accuracy guy. Kyler Murray, baseball player, great accuracy guy. So if he wants to compare Jalen Hurts to these guys, he's just more of an idiot. I mean, you're talking about a guy who couldn't be accurate at Oklahoma. I mean, everybody's accurate in the Big 12. I mean, there's some of the worst quarterbacks that are like third stringers in the league. That if you look at their Big 12 stats, they were accurate. Okay, so I don't need to hear about comparing Jalen Hurts to accurate guys like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. That's a flat out disgrace to me because now you're trying to lie to my face.
Red Dragon, sign me up.
Yeah, I know he can catch football.
Oh, can he? I mean, he looked like he's fucking 500 pounds last time we saw him. So I mean, I guess anything's better. He's a different.
That'll be good for the durability at least. It won't be these 5'8", 180-pound guys.
No, he'll just be smoking and drinking, running out to the field.
It'll help him from getting injured.
Game day, I'm fine. Whatever. If he's going game day, I'm fine.
It'll protect his bones.
Yeah.
Big 12 plays no defense. Absolutely. That's why
no defense whatsoever.
It's hard to take a lot out of it. Even though Baker was my guy and I like Baker because of his mocks and stuff, but it's hard to take out it's hard to factor in when guys are like throwing for like 75% accurate, percentage, completion percentage. It's hard to evaluate it. Like, is that, you know what I mean? Is that because of the conference? Is that because he's just an accurate son of a bitch? What's the reason, right? You know what I mean? And, the difference of all them type of quarterbacks, Baker, Jalen, not baseball guys, and the other two are. And you see the difference of, how it translates on Sundays. Russell Wilson can make every throw.
It's amazing watching him play every Sunday because
we might never see anything like him again. And like the closest thing is Murray, I guess, but Murray's not going to be anything like that. Russell Wilson is he's like a one of a kind guy. And for Tom, like you said, for Howie Roseman, 6-7 years later, whenever they didn't pick him, they say, "Hey, we're going to go and we believe this guy's the guy." Who are you fooling? Because correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure as soon as Russell Wilson arrived there, he was legit. He's not somebody who took 3-4 years.
Yeah, he was legit as soon as he got to Seattle.
Yep.
He was also a 4th-round pick, though, so everybody passed on him at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Eagles champs. I don't know what are you talking about? Jalen Reagor was Doug Peterson's
when it comes to the picks in the draft.
That's a crock of shit.
Yeah, Howie Roseman's been preaching speed since the second this season got done last year.
No, I mean, tell me where the proof is that's Doug's pick, please. Because if you guys feel like that he has say in the draft, you're all blinded what's going on in his organization right now. That's all. You don't have it. You
But
don't have
also, have you guys watched him in the media? He just is not happy. Like, I know they're
he's
losing and
pissed.
everything, but
Pissed.
he's not happy in general. Like, it just to me, I'm reading into it maybe too much, but it doesn't seem like things are going well in the whole entire organization.
I don't
me.
think I don't think he
No, I
likes
don't
his
think you're reading into anything. I think you're reading that spot on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because there's no urgency to
you an
win.
extension. Hold on, would you be happy if they didn't give you an extension yet?
Nope.
Like another big time extension? Would you be happy?
No.
Would you be happy? You just want
Well,
to
how many more? He's got what? 2 more years left, correct?
2022,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah, but I'm
So,
just saying,
so, they're,
like,
so they're treating our coach like shit, our quarterback like shit, and our number one receiver, Ertz, like shit.
yeah, that's what this front office is doing because they don't trust. They don't have
They,
full trust.
they gotta go. They gotta go.
For some reason. Yeah. They think they can plug and play coaches now. They think they're a coaching, they're a coaching factory now. Right? Remember what Chip Kelly did to this organization. All right. Jeffrey Lurie needs to get his head out of his ass if there are some of these issues going on up top.
Well, and also you go back, and again, I wasn't a fan of these two guys, but I think it dates all the way back to the beginning of this offseason, Tori, because you look at it, he goes and sticks up for his guys, Grow, and obviously Carson Walsh, and then all of a sudden the talking heads
2
from up
days
top
later.
again. Yeah, 2 days later. Oh no, whatever
Yeah.
Doug said. No,
Yeah.
screw Doug. We're just
True.
going to do the exact opposite.
But
And
you'd be
again, I
happy
don't like those guys, but
Would you be happy the next day? Better yet, 5 months
Forgot
later.
about that.
Months later.
Nope.
I'll be pissed. I'll be pissed all year if you
Yeah.
made me look like an idiot like that. I'll be pissed at you guys all year if you made me look like an idiot to the media like that. Because now people are going to nonstop talk about it. Absolutely. Riordan says no communication.
nope.
Yeah. And the communication that probably Doug wants, Howie's probably not willing to give. Howie's pulling his best Chip Kelly impression. I won't talk to you in the hallway type shit.
Dude, how
And,
is
and
that?
I'm telling you,
It's
What-
the more I'm talking to you guys, the more I'm like getting pissed off about it.
That's what we're here to do.
yeah, we've done our jobs correctly.
Yep.
But honestly, Tori, it comes down to this, and I'm not. We won't go too deep into it because week 2, maybe week 6, then it becomes a thing. But
It feels like week 12.
it does. It feels like we've gone through about 100 wars. I completely agree with you. We're down in the trenches just trying to survive. Honestly, I think the frustration comes down to there's no urgency to win. There's none by this organization. And you see Doug Peterson, which all goes into the contract, he's probably thinking to himself, so we're talking about not making any moves if we need to help me coach this team to win now. Then you're talking about you want the cap to roll over when you're supposed to be the money guy. Then you're talking about, hey, it's kind of like this Andy McPhail-esque, if we do, we do, if we don't thing. And you're playing all these games, and then you're not trying to help my quarterback. You're getting his replacement and guys that are going to be project picks. And then you're not going to show me some respect, and you're not going to give me the insurance because you give me this, and then you say, hey, you have 2 more years left on a contract. Like, honestly, they're playing all these roster games. They're not spending any money. And they're like, nah, Doug, we're not going to pay you yet. How is he supposed to feel?
Exactly like he does.
Yep.
Pissed off, snarky,
I kind
unhappy.
of don't blame him now that I think about it.
But every year, guess what he's going to do though? He's going to rally the group,
Mhm.
and they're going to play tough football at some point. Hopefully it starts this Sunday, and we're going to get into this Sunday a little bit here and give her score predictions, offensive, defensive player of the game, and we'll go. We'll go one non-starter
Ooh.
that makes an impact on Sunday. We're not doing sleeper anymore. It's been bad luck. One non-starter who makes an impact on Sunday. We are getting rid of the sleeper. Getting rid of the sleeper.
Banned.
Keeps. She's gone.
Executive
It's
decision.
subjective anyway.
Joe.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what he's doing. And some mint chocolate chip Briars is absolutely delicious.
Bon
Yeah.
bon.
It's probably what Howie's saying. Doug, don't worry about it. Don't answer the phones. We're not going to give you a contract, but here's some ice cream. Just go.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
go
if
sit
I'm
down.
Doug, I'm taking an Ativan and a ZQL on draft day and sleeping for 2 days.
If I'm Doug, I'm punching somebody. If I'm Doug, I'm punching somebody.
Probably banging a receptionist.
Oh, yes.
Get your frustration. You know what I mean? Get your frustration.
Okay.
Guys joking.
Joking something else.
I
He's got
cannot.
50 Shades of Gray in his freaking coach's office.
Yeah.
50 Shades of Doug.
He needs some 50 shades of Doug.
That's the weapons they were really talking about. I can't. I'm done. I can't.
Throwing darts at Howie's face in between his pick.
That's where the
We've
real
now
that's where the
gone
gadgets
into
are. That's where the
a
gadgets
2D
are.
after dark.
Bruce, who's a fake Eagles fan? Bruce, I want to go there. Well, because we're done with Howie, right?
On, Bruce.
I
But for
can't.
real, I still think this is a playoff team. I still think they rally. So
Really?
spite Howie Roseman. Spite. I can't bet he gets his locker room believing we're gonna go win. Spite Howie Roseman. Watch this. Watch
Oh,
what
I think I agree. I think they're going to rebound. My concern is, are they going to rebound too late? Like, are they going to be like in a 6-game hole, or and they have to win 5? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you have to
good,
win
but
10 in a row.
That's tough to do, fellas. That'd be tough to do.
Listen, a win this weekend sets you up because you go to San Fran, they're banged up. You can very well win a game there, and you can be 2-2 and feeling a lot better about ourselves real quick.
Yeah.
Here, okay, we can feel a lot better about ourselves. I say we kick Tori off for this segment, start feeling better about ourselves, all right, and try to talk a win into some
That's a
existence.
good idea.
You know what I mean? Can we start talking some good, positive things into existence? Bruce,
No.
a fake Eagles fan. Why am I fake? Because I said Doug wants to have a little fun in the office. I mean, how's that fake? He's got to release some stress. Look what he's dealing with.
I don't blame him. He needs to meet a nice Eagles cheerleader.
Oh,
jeez. Oh, God.
I love it. Now we're taking up the cheerleaders.
Now we're Washington.
Yeah.
There you go. That's right. There you go. Washington fan.
There you go.
That's some Dan Snyder
I was
shit.
gonna say.
Hold our beer, Yusuf. This is what we do on draft night. Carson's in the house.
Oh, hey, Carson.
Doug's playing.
Hey, what up, Cars?
This gets worse here.
Carson, how do you feel about Howie?
Doug's play calling us.
Don't blink if you hate Howie. Just don't blink.
Don says, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." Part 6.
About to be part
Fine.
7 in
That's
about
fine.
3 minutes.
Pop says
Part
last
3.
time we went 0-2. We finished the season 12-4.
That's
What are
the
the chances?
spirit.
That could repeat.
That's
It could,
lightning in a
but it
bottle.
could. It won't, but it could.
I have no idea how.
I love these
But-
people's positivity.
You know how it does? Your defensive front starts being gangbusters, right?
Yeah.
Your defense starts taking the football away, right? You can go on a run like that by winning 2 games over the next 2 weeks, right? And getting to 2-2 and then starting to feel good about yourselves. Going to locker rooms with a couple wins, right? Start rallying around each other. Now you're enjoying coming to practice, right? So a lot of things can happen in 2 weeks to rejuvenate a whole bunch and start playing contagiously good football. A lot can happen. What the hell did that jerk off say? He's been talking.
Now he's doing
Are you
some, like,
calling my
incoherent
quarterback a
rambling.
jerk off?
Oh, no, he's not talking about Wentz.
Oh.
Maybe he's not talking about us.
Maybe he's talking about these fake Eagles fans, fake print media in Philly in denial. Well, because ESPN's talking about Wentz benching. So when did ESPN become dictate on who starts at quarterback? I don't know when they had the polls on their football team because Max Kellerman has an opinion on it.
Oh,
I don't understand.
This is a Cowboys fan, I think.
Do you know
this
anything
says it
about
all.
boys, Bruce?
This
Right.
says.
Right? You think Howie's the smartest guy in the room that thinks Wentz is going to fail? Then why?
He also says genius, but not knowing how to spell genius.
Yes, and which is also that giveaway of a moron. But you're also your genius general manager signed Wentz to a $100 million deal. So what did he do that for? To trade him? Okay, if that's what you think, fine. I mean, it could happen, I guess. Everything's open. I can't put anything past Howie at this point.
I'll tell you what, they believe they can. They believe they can trade him.
That doesn't make it as smart. That doesn't make him smart.
Mm-mm. Nope. Nope.
And Russo says, I'm out. 28-24 Birds win Sunday. We pick off Burrow on the final drive to win. Oh, my God.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
stressful.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
See you,
Another
Vince. Thanks for
roller,
tuning in, bud.
Later,
See,
Vince.
Vince,
See you, brother.
another roller coaster game. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Listen, we'll just take a win, Ralphie. Just take a win.
I know.
Because honestly, I mean, I did something this past, and Ralphie, you can attest to this because I was watching with you. Bye, Tori.
Nope,
Tori. Now.
Tori.
She's like Jimmy now. I mean, they're like in a competition between the two. I mean, what? It wasn't even a controversial or suspenseful ending this past week, Ralphie. I had to turn off the TV. I turned it off and I turned on U.S. Open. I felt nothing. No shame, no nothing. I'm just like, that's how bad it got. Hi, Tori.
You like my new name?
She's back.
Hold on, your name. Hold on, let me see.
My Wi-Fi sucks.
Oh.
Yep. Well done.
Thank you.
Todd has the Eagles winning 31-28. All right, so let's get this party started. So we'll circle the boards. All right. Score prediction. Then we'll circle back. But yeah, actually, just give me both. Give me your score prediction, offense, defensive player of the game, and we'll keep the train rolling. And yeah, and then I want to know where you got this team finishing at. Is this team still a playoff team after you answer that? Right. So we want score prediction, offense, defensive player of the game. Okay. And is this team still a playoff team? You need to know that after.
Damn it.
This is going to get fiery.
All right. Don't playoff. And then the family out there, you want to win $100 free A2D merch? Get the score prediction right. Tiebreaker, offensive, defensive player of the game. We're not doing 75 anymore. We lost 2 weeks doing it. Okay.
Yo, I was pretty close last week.
Well, your negativity would be close. We don't give out. We don't give out it for losses.
I was pretty close on a 31-24.
Listen, Carson Wentz. It's gotten so bad. Carson's now speaking in third person now.
I love that Carson's burner account is his real name.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not trying to fool anybody. He's
tricky.
honest.
That's
He's
a true
tricky.
burner.
The man of faith.
It's a man of faith.
Oh yeah.
That's
He
like
doesn't
the
lie.
ultimate burner, though, is your real name. Like
Yep.
it's
Just
so
put- and just
smart.
in the description.
If
just
only
put,
Brian
it's me.
Colangelo
It's
would've
really
done that.
me.
Yeah, it's the real Carson Wentz. Like
It's
makes
me.
so
It's
much
really
sense.
me.
Yeah, Brian Colangelo really did that. Maybe Jeremy Grant wouldn't be dropping 30 for somebody else the other night.
Traded him for 20 freaking 3 games of Ersan Ilyasova.
Week and a half.
Yep.
All right.
So, Ralphie, you want to get the score prediction start off in defensive player of the game?
Yeah, I'll go first.
And then the last question is this still a playoff team?
All right, here we go. Obviously, week 1. God damn it! You know, we started off fast, shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times, lost that one. Then we last week happens, and you're like, "Oh, Miles is looking pretty good. Third play of the game, up fumbles, and then look at that, we're down 21. We're down 21-3 at one point. And you're like, "Up, here we go." So this week we got Cincinnati coming to the link. Man. But I picked the Eagles, week 1 to win. Obviously lost. They picked picked them week 2 to win. They lost again, but I don't care. I'm picking them again to win this week. I think they win this week by a score of 21-17 at home against Cincinnati. Offensive player of the game. Jeez. Who
I don't know what G's on the Eagles roster.
Well, we might need G's.
Offensive player of the game. I'm going to go Dallas Goedert. And defensive player of the game, I'm going to go Avonte Maddox, player of the game.
You must have missed Jaws saying how bad Maddox was the first 2 weeks.
Not good, Don. 0-2. Not good. Not good.
Your affection must have not picked that up.
And is this a playoff team still? I'm going to say yes. Still a playoff team. Still young in the season. We got 14, 13 more weeks to go in this football season. I'm going to say yes. Still a playoff team.
Very good.
Still got hopes, baby. Always will have hope.
Good math, Ralph.
It was like you had it written down. It was like you had it ready.
It's a great.
Well, you got to
education.
put the bye week in there. You know what I mean?
Oh, listen, it's a struggle. I understand. It's difficult.
We know what you're going through up there. Yeah. Frank?
All right. I will give my prediction. I do have the Eagles winning this one. I'm going to go with, let's go 24-10.
Oh, high. Okay.
My offensive player of the game, I'm going to go with Booby himself. Give me Miles Sanders as my offensive player of the game. And my defensive player of the game, jeez. We probably need G's on this team for defense.
Jesus. Yeah.
Exactly. Jesus, Yahweh,
Ginger,
Zenu.
Jesus. Thank you. We
very
have
true.
one.
Thank you, Tori. Very, very true.
Let's see. Week 1, I had Big Play Slay. Week 2, I had Nickel Roby Coleman, who did Bupkis.
Well, it's not working when you're picking the secondary, Frank.
I know.
Yep. Mix the lineman in.
Or linebacker, if you would like.
Yeah,
Do we
go
have-
linebacker
no
because we
thanks.
need help there.
Go Davion
so
Taylor. Maybe
you
he'll
know
see the
what?
field.
Give me. Well, the Bengals O-line is terrible. So, you know what? Give me Malik Jackson.
Very good, Frank.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you for playing.
And regarding this team being a playoff team, as Ralph said, it's still early in the season. And also, you got to factor in players are going to come off the PUP and the IR over in the coming weeks. So I still have them as a playoff team. Now, if you ask me this again in like 3,
week.
4, maybe 5 weeks, that opinion will change. And with that, I will take off and I will see you around next week. And go
Hopefully
Bears.
after a win.
Oh, you're
Hopefully
bouncing.
after a
Hopefully
win.
after a win.
You're
See
bouncing.
you, Frank.
See ya,
Walk off.
Frank.
Yeah,
Walk
Frank.
off.
Hi, Frank.
Very good. Greg?
All right. 24.
I feel you.
24-21 Eagles.
Oh, no.
44?
No, 24. They
24,
can't score
okay.
44 points.
I was going to say, okay.
24-21 Eagles. My offensive player of the game, Deshaun Jackson. My defensive player of the game will be Big Play Slay.
Both these guys.
And is this team – huh?
Both these guys will get hurt this week.
Is this team a playoff team? No.
Very, very possible with them too.
You said no. Okay. So we got a first no.
Tori?
Ralph, hold on. Ralph, did you expect something different?
No, not really.
You know, I mean, it's just who he is. I mean, you got to learn to just accept it.
So we got
Tori?
So I've been going back and forth with this. Like every other game, I felt like I was very sure of the win or loss. I was going to say Eagles until today when I got the news about Jalen Reagor. So, like I said before, I feel like Eagles don't snap out of something until they lose a bunch in a row. Like they're not the type to lose one and bounce back. I'm going to say we're going to be upset by the Bengals. I think it's going to be close. It's hard to say, but I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say like 21-17. I'll go. We're going to lose. No, maybe I'll go 21-19. I think it'll be like 2 points. 21-19.
Oh, even worse. Just pick a blowout. Just get it over with.
Anyway,
That's
you
not
were
a blowout.
Anyway,
No, I said I would rather you pick a blowout. That way it's
No,
not
yeah, I think it's gonna be close. Just
Oh,
I was gonna
God,
say Eagles
no.
until the Reagor was out. Like that just even though hasn't been producing that much, that just takes another weapon off the field for us, and they're just gonna be covering everyone who's gonna make any impact.
We sold our souls for a Super Bowl, and this is what happens.
covering it?
100%.
with a backup quarterback.
Who's
This
covering anybody
sucks.
Sunday? I mean, their defense is atrocious.
Dude, I could cover JJ Arcega-Whiteside. So what do you mean? I mean, like look at what we have on the field.
I mean, can you argue? I can't argue with that. We can't
Like,
argue.
These are not
She's right
professional
again.
football players. I love to hear that. Thank you.
So
We're the
what
third.
game? When do you have our first win?
I
Week-
we played
Week 15.
week
It's
4. We
something
played the
else.
Niners. We played the Niners week 4, right?
Yeah, on the road.
Okay. So they were a problem for me until they have all these injuries. I am going to predict that we're going to beat that. Right now, we'll see what happens this week, but I'm going to predict we'll win that game.
Well, what
but,
can
like-
happen this week? You already got a loss. What can happen worse?
Well, I'm saying we could lose more players, and then I'll really predict a loss week 4.
You were just talking this bad juju. I mean, it's unbelievable. I thought Greg was bad. I mean, you come in and it's a funeral. It's a funeral procession.
I don't know if you're expecting a ray of sunshine because I'm a woman, but
no, I was just expecting a win versus the goddamn Bengals, Tori. I wasn't asking for a lot. I mean, I'm asking for a win versus the damn Bengals.
Guess what? I was expecting that too before I saw the season. With everyone's training camp updates and all these like nasty players that I was seeing, I was expecting that too. But look what we have. Does she sit in her room? Listen. I actually, yeah. Oh, it's my biggest hater, Sean Spellman.
Oh, we have history. Here we go.
It's one of the only people I'm blocked by on Facebook.
Wow.
Oh, it's on. It's on. Let's do this.
No.
Do it.
Sean's been known to get block happy. Red Dragon wants to know who's holding you.
The only Giants fan that I know that watches Eagles podcast. Fucking weird.
Ooh. I like this. I like
Who's holding me hostage? Howie Roseman.
Oh.
I'm feeling sassy tonight.
The only thing I don't agree with, you can pick them to lose, but losing Jalen doesn't do nothing for me.
I think on their offense it does. No, like even though he hasn't done that much, but they talk about like stretching the field and whatnot. Does he not? And Deshaun Jackson played 77% of the snaps. But when did you notice Deshaun on the field in the first half? In the first half last week, I didn't notice him on the field at all. Like you need someone else out there.
Yeah, but the other guy out there runs the same routes.
But he's on the other side of the field, and you can't take them both.
Obviously, they have.
Well, and obviously they're going to again on Sunday when they lose, like my prediction.
Maybe they don't. Maybe Deshaun goes over top a little bit. Maybe you know what I mean. Maybe he gets a little wide open because obviously
I would love for him to be wide open.
Teams have had no issues holding these two at bay and holding Jalen at bay. I mean, he's kind of going over the top one time. It's not like he's been like Uncle Stretch the field either. So neither one have, but the two guys run the same routes out there. I don't know. Maybe if you mix them, I don't know who the hell you mix in, but maybe the next guy can come in and run a route. I don't know.
Who?
Me? I mean, who's the guy in front of him? I mean, who's the guy who's crowned in front of him? You know, I mean, you just hope that. I don't know. Listen, you hope the game plan changes.
When I was picking the Eagles to win this week, originally, it wasn't by much. That's what I'm saying. Like, I wasn't predicting a blowout. But then with the Rieger pick, it just set me back a little bit. I'm still, like, teetering. Like, I still think we can pull out a win. But, like, just my gut is saying from past PTSD from Eagles sports, Philly sports in general, I see an upset. And I see myself being in a really, really dark place next week.
Yep. I mean, I don't know how it's getting darker than the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's the total Philly type thing that we'd be 0-3 having the same conversation next week, but then saying, okay, who are we picking? You know what I mean? And it becomes like, who are we drafting? Yeah, like next week changes real quick. I can't talk draft yet. I need a win more than anything in the world to feel better about myself. I think this is, I go ahead and I'll give mine.
So I'm going to go with a final score, the Eagles winning 31-30. Yeah, barn burner. I mean, it's going to be riveting. But it's going to be a W. I'm going to go with my offensive player of the game. See, I really think it's going to be Miles. So I'm going to go. I can't buy into the Boston Scots.
No smart football fan would.
I'm gonna get, but actually, I say that, but now I'm probably gonna make the pick that's even dumber, and that's the guy that's gonna probably fill in for Jalen Reagor, and that's Mr. John Hightower. Do I believe it? No,
that's bold.
Yeah, it's bold. But listen, I've gone with like the hot names the last couple of weeks, and you see how that's going. Wow. And also the guys that I picked for my players of the game, they just haven't shown up at all. And then on my defensive player of the game, I do believe, because this offensive line for the Bengals. They're not stopping anybody to where I truly believe we're going to see Derek Barnett all over the field. I do.
On or offside?
Thank you. You read my mind. I was going there next. He'll have a couple of those to even out. You know what I mean? The brilliance. But I'll go Barnett for defensive player of the game. And do I believe this is a playoff team? No, because I originally had them getting in at 9-7 with the 7th seed. I don't believe a football team gets in the playoffs at 8-8. So I'm going to go no.
Yeah, there's no way arguing that at this point. If you felt like that from Jump Street. Listen, I think this weekend's a little bit different. I just don't see how this football team doesn't come in and have a huge sense of urgency and beat a team that they're superior than and beat them handily. This should be a team where this is a get well game, right? Where everything's clicking, you're feeling good about yourself, and you leave feeling good about yourself. Now I'll take a win anyway. They want to give me one, but I think this is a good old fashioned roll job, and I'm gonna go 35-21. I think they beat them up bad. They beat them up by 2 touchdowns. I understand we have trouble with every quarterback, but it's still a rookie quarterback. I got to hope this defense is good enough to get off the field, right? I got to hope that this offense against the 32nd ranked rush defense in football and a secondary that's putrid, right, can establish a running game, can go up and down the field, can sustain drives. I got to believe that. I got to believe this football team is good enough to whoop up on a team that they're this much superior than. We're talking about the worst football team in football last year, okay? That's what we're talking about right now. All right, if this football team isn't good enough to beat them, then we should just stop talking Eagles right now. Or start talking the draft, or start talking about how the hell can the Phillies win 3 in a row. All right? You know what I mean? Like that should be the whole conversation. But this is a team, it's a must-win game, and we know this team in must-win games. And I gotta have a feel and the confidence that this team comes out hungry. And this team comes out trying to make a statement. And the best way you can do that is get up on them early and make them feel like they can't play with you. You can't let them hang around this Sunday. You let a team hang around that's not as good as you like you did Washington, they start feeling like they can play with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's got to be nailing the coffin early. It's got to be after going in the half, you're feeling real good about yourselves. Right? That's how it's got to be. Now, if it isn't, then you just got to come out with a win somehow. Anthony, I understand Joe Burrow is good. I understand that. I get all that. Okay? This is a better
he's due for a win. He's due for a win.
Good. So are we.
That's true.
So, the Bengals are 0-2, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're 0-2, correct? So if you told me before the season started we would both match up 0-2, what team would be more realistically to go 0-3?
Cincinnati.
Done. That's why they're going
on. That's before the season.
We're still better than that football team. We still have way more talent than that football team. We're still better coached than that football team. We should be coming out with a W, no excuses this Sunday. None. Because if we don't, then big time people are chop block talk. Right? Then we're really having a conversation with a lot of people that might need to take a hike.
You think they would do that during the season?
No, I'm just making a point. Like, I'm firing me. I fired a GM on the spot. If he get torched defensively, he might get fired on the spot. You know what I mean? There might be some aggressive things happen.
I think they should.
But our luck, we go 0-3, and everybody else and everybody else loses. And then we feel like, we're still in it. Game out.
So I'm the only one that's picking the Bengals to win.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Sorry to not go along with you this week.
I know. I'm disappointed in you.
My offensive player of the game is going to be Greg Ward. I think he's gonna probably be maybe our most. Nobody took Deshaun, right?
I did.
All right, so yeah. So I'll go Greg Ward. He'll probably get more snaps this week. We know there was a little chemistry there last year, so maybe he can have a couple big catches for us offensively. Not proud of that pick. Really not.
I thought you were going 11.
No, I did it last week. I don't want to do that again. I don't.
Not proud.
I'm not going to put that juju on him again.
You going Fletcher again?
Nope.
Not doing that again.
Nope, not doing that again.
Oh.
No way, shape, or form. But I'm going to go Greg Ward, and defensively, let's go with BG, man. I mean, he's the only guy who's even had a sense to smell a quarterback. So,
Yeah.
can I get a monster game from you this Sunday? Be the leader of this defense. A guy that, I've can't speak highly enough about on here. So go be that guy this Sunday in a must-win football game. And we'll find out. We're going to find out. I mean, we're going to find out what this team's made of. All this conversation about, they're a playoff team still, because I think they are, right? But all this conversation goes out the window with a loss on Sunday. It just goes out the window.
Carson believes he's going to throw 4 touchdowns on Sunday also.
Well, numbers usually even out, right, guys?
Yep.
Like, numbers seem to even out in pro sports. That's why I think he has a big day on Sunday. And that's what I think some people do. Like, I think Uncle Sleep has a biggish day.
Yeah, Uncle Sleep chimes in and tends to agree with that. 28-24 Birds, Wentz 414 TDs to silence the haters for 3 hours, and Cox 2 sacks somehow. Maybe he shows up, but no playoffs this year. Sorry, boys and girls. Reload for 2021.
Yeah, I would say no playoffs if I didn't believe the division wasn't that good. If I didn't believe Dallas defense is swish too. Like, their offense can flat out score, don't get me wrong. But their defense is Swiss cheese, and they're going to cough up games defensively. Now, what's scary is their win on Sunday, because sometimes a win like that gets you jump-started. That concerns me. That concerns me big time, because I got a weird feeling they're going on a little 5-game run real quick here, right? It can really be a big-time separator, and this conversation can change real quick. Real quick. That's why Sunday is obviously a must win. The next 2 weeks are must wins. You gotta go back to 2-2, and then start feeling the conversation. All right, even if we don't win the division, we can still get into the dance, right? You got to think like that.
The Cowboys are at the Seahawks this week.
Oh, come on, Russell. Come on, Russell. Take care of that defense.
Tough game for Seattle, though. You had an emotional win last week.
Yep.
You're 2-0. You're feeling good. It's almost like that upset game coming. Talk of the town, Seattle Seahawks.
Line's the same as the Eagles game. Seattle -5. Eagles are -5.
Yeah, Joe. Sorry. Yeah, Joe. I mean, 61 passes for a rookie. I mean, that's disgraceful. We're losing against a coach like that. You know what I mean? Like, we should be taking the football away something. If we can't take the football away from a goddamn rookie, then everybody that we thought were upgrades on this defense aren't.
The funny thing is too, I don't want to say I'm more concerned because Burrow showed us something in the in the first 2 weeks, but after that embarrassment of run defense this past week, I'm scared to death to see what Joe Mixon does to us, because he can attack you in any different way. You know what I'm saying? And even Bernard.
Listen, I can't be. I agree with you, but this has been a defense that has been known to stop the run. So I got to assume they're going to get back to stopping the run well, and just give that up to a hiccup game. Hopefully. But I mean, I could see it, but again, the Bengals offensive line isn't good. You know what I mean?
No, it's bad.
So this isn't a good football team coming in here. Yeah, they got a good young quarterback. They got a good young running back. Okay, we know they got some decent weapons on the outside. We know these, right? But these aren't. This isn't a loaded roster coming in here. This is a worse roster than the Washington Redskins coming in here.
I was going to say, but we lost to the Redskins. Like,
well, I'm saying Cincinnati's worse.
I was just thinking about, who did we lose our first game to?
The worst roster.
Worse than the Redskins.
Absolutely worse than the Redskins, in my opinion.
Right. We'll see how this conversation goes next week. I mean, I hope.
Listen, do you think that I'm guaranteeing it, though? I'm not in the position after the way this football team looks to be guaranteeing shit.
What's your confidence level percentage? We'll do it for everybody.
Like, are you predicting a win because you're hoping that, or because you think that?
No, because I think that this is a better football.
But no, I go through the things sometimes where I'm like, am I really saying this because I hope this will happen, or because I think this will happen?
No, because it's a 34-21 game. This is a game that gets you feeling good. This is a game that gets this whole roster feeling good about it. Listen, numbers even out. This is an even out game. This is a game where, like Sweep said, like I'm saying, it's a game where, like, and somebody else said in the chat, this is a game where he throws for 350 plus. This is a game where he throws for 3+ touchdowns. This is a game where he doesn't turn the football over. This is a game. I'm telling you, Tori. I'm talking you off the cliff. I'm pulling you back this week. Last week I tried to.
Yeah.
I didn't feel as good. I'm a 90%.
You sounded real positive last week, though.
I'm not going to give 100% because how could I after the first 2 weeks? Like, let's be real, because I think that's just asinine. But I will say 90, which is still aggressive after the way this team looked the first 2 weeks. But to tell me this roster isn't better, that means then I know nothing about football, and everybody that I've talked football with for the last 5 months knows nothing about football. If this roster isn't better than the Cincinnati Bengals, every expert out there, every expert
on paper better, but why is every single thing possible going wrong for our team?
Because this is Philadelphia. This is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Exactly, and that's why I picked
their soul for the Super Bowl.
No, they didn't sell their soul for the Super Bowl. They like playing. They almost want to lose. They almost want to start bad or some sort of bad things go on so they can rally around each other. They almost play better having to be resilient and playing behind the 8 ball than they do playing with a lead. Right? We saw that in Washington too. But I mean, they almost do better having the rally like that. It almost drives this locker room and this coach. I don't know why. I don't have the answer for it. You know what I mean? I don't. But it's been the MO. So they win this week. They go to San Fran. They beat the Niners too, who aren't any good anyway. Mirage. That was a mirage last year. Jimmy G stinks anyway. So
it might be the Nick Mullins show. We might not even have Jimmy G.
Yeah, Nick Mullins is starting for them now.
Now, Tori, could Joe Burrows and Mr. Mullins both tear us up for 350 plus? Yep, we've seen that happen in the past. So you know what I mean? Could it go the other way? Sure. And then we were just fooled by.
We got to win one of the next 2.
Absolutely, we got to win both. We got to win both, in my opinion.
Yeah, we got to win both of these games.
We're not beating the Ravens.
I'm seeing one win within the next 2, but
have to win both of these
I don't
games.
know which one. I'm going to go week 4.
Playoff team. If we are a playoff team like we all expected to be, all right, we win the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
Right, Ralphie. It doesn't have to be clean. Doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world. But
give me these 2 wins. We're 2-2. We're sitting at 500, and let's just play it all out.
And people are literally people. Oh, I mean, there's going to be mouthfuls of Carson on social media if this team rattles off 2 in a row. I'm going to tell people now. People that you saw running them out of town week 1 are going to they're going to spin it every which way. That's all I asked for. That's all I asked for was them to play well. That's all I was saying, guys. He just had to play better. As I was running him out of town the first 2 weeks, this is going to be the change of pace. We're going to see.
They've been running him out of town since 2017. So I don't pay attention to that.
They have to be.
They ran him out of Detroit. No, they ran him out of Detroit year in 2016. They were running him out of town after the Detroit loss. They were running him out of town. His rookie year.
It's awful.
They have to be at least 3-4 at the bye to have a shot at the playoffs. And the only reason why I say that's because this division doesn't look like it's very good. It looks like you can get in another 9-7.
The Heat won.
Don't though. I mean, I'm watching it too. I don't need to. This is too hard. This is just too hard to watch. And now we are going to go on with it.
I don't know what you're watching.
No, because now watching Jimmy do it just makes me feel like 0-3's coming now. Just bad juju. Just bad juju watching this son of a bitch. I can't watch.
He says, what's y'all's take on Tyrod Taylor's lung puncture? Surprised it didn't happen in Philly. Surprised it didn't happen here.
I think Howie's calling him to hire him as Carson Wentz doctor any second.
Down. Thought he was already here. Guys fooled me. Thought that guy was already here. We just sent him the chart. We sent him to LA for a minute.
He's going to be in Philly within a week.
I mean, about time. I mean, Justin Herbert should have been the starter day 1. We're talking about Tyrod Taylor. I mean, you're drafting a quarterback top 5, top 10. That quarterback.
He played pretty good last week, too.
He played very good. Yeah, he played he's awesome. He's awesome.
He was really good.
He's a grown man.
He's really good.
How do you puncture someone's lung? Like,
pretending you're in Philly?
It was Herbert's dad that did it. He wasn't a real doctor. He just did it all day in Express last night.
Allegedly.
Dude, that's sickening. That's sickening.
Ralphie, what's your
And we
confidence
thought we
level?
hated our quarterback. Oh my god.
Ralphie, what's your confidence level in the Eagles winning on Sunday?
90%.
Ooh.
90%.
Greg?
I mean, I picked them to win. I have them winning
He's gonna say like 51.
55%.
I'm right there. I mean, I have them winning by a point, so I'm going like 54%. Tom's not happy with something. Yes, Tom?
No, I just
May.
I saw the look. I see you. I see the look.
Is it the arm?
Yeah, I saw the. I heard the breathing.
The heavy sigh.
Yeah, I heard
Sit
it.
back in the chair.
It sounded like when I was doing voice recordings, Tom. I mean, it sounds like the
written all
voice-
over his face.
well, it's just Uncle T times over here. Want to piggyback into being 52%ers and like that's zero confidence in his football team. I expect it from Greg. Right? You know what? You've been the issue. I was starting to blame it on Tory ever since your 9-7 day. Ever since your 9-7 nowhere, which I wasn't expecting. It's all been downhill since that day.
Because Roseman lied to us.
You're playing too many 18s with Greg.
Ryan is the problem. Hey,
I am playing a little too many tea times with Greg. That could be the problem. That could be.
Rub it on. You got to get back to this 9. You can't play 18 with him. I mean, he's bringing
that back 9. I really rub off on him too much.
Yeah, Greg might have tied me on the back 9 on Sunday. That's kind of why. Yeah, so I mean, it's not looking good for either of us, to be honest.
Yeah, let's cut that down. Let's cut it down and maybe just once in a while play a front 5.
I take full responsibility. I really do.
Play some mini golf or something.
No. I don't play mini golf.
I'll play mini golf.
No, I suck at that game.
Tom, you look like a mini golf guy.
Oh, love to pot it up. You know what I mean? Love the Barry.
Here we go, Greg. Here we go.
What's better than a hole in one?
Best putter in the world. Best putter in the world.
Phenomenal putter. Phenomenal putter. Like really just like and I don't even line up. You know what I mean? I would be great on the tour while guys are like sitting there taking a knee. I'm just coming up and shooting. Like Arnone again. Look at this guy. Just in rhythm.
No notes.
Arnone in rhythm for 2.
I can't.
I beat Len's ass. Mini golf. She's lining up shots like she's on the tour. And I'm just
real easy to beat a pregnant woman in a sport.
I mean, come on. It's mini golf. The belly isn't that
Sorry,
big.
am I coming in hot tonight?
He's coming after you. He's coming after you.
No, the belly isn't dictating. The belly isn't dictating your form. I mean, grow up. I mean,
Tell it to Greg.
My wrist work.
Greg's
true.
belly would disagree with you, Tom.
My belly would disagree with you.
Oh, we've seen your drive. Hard to get the lower half going.
Yeah.
Listen,
it's all in the hips.
Yeah,
all
Gotta
in the
rotate hard.
Your hips get going too much. You tear the other ACL.
Yep. That's why I don't golf.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Yep, that's about right, Ryan.
I can't be your props, Ryan.
So
I'm making this one.
Him and Frank with the what?
Did you give your confidence level on a loss?
My confidence.
Yeah. So I mean, you did it as a win. So what's your confidence level on a loss?
I'm confident in about a 70% loss.
70%. 70% loss to Cincinnati Bengals. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Tom,
I'd love to know.
Tom, I do have them winning by a point, so I really can't have my confidence being really high. I have them winning by a point.
Brian's got one last question. What's up, Brian? He says one last question. He says our linebackers suck. It's so hard to read that. And our defensive line is the highest paid in the league. Why not run a 5-man dime in front? Brian, I think you brought this up before, and I said, yeah, why the hell not? You get the most talent on the field, and you can do it, right? Go ahead. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, why not? You know what, Brian? We could just avoid the whole diamond conversation and just start drafting linebackers. Well, you know what I mean? We just not have to get so like collegey with it and try to pull things like that, and just say, "Hey, Patrick Queen, you're fun." I mean,
and by the, I mean, at this point, right? Why not try it, right? But from the sounds of what Jim Schwartz said today, I don't know if trying to change something up and make it more difficult for this defense is going to help any.
Well, I mean, I don't know what
They say some dumb shit.
Well, Andre wants to know. Will Alshon make a significant change when he comes back? I mean, if he,
I'd like to think and I'm not
in the red zone,
Alshon, but I'd like
in the
to
red
think
zone,
he
yes.
should.
I think he will in the red zone.
30 years old, so he's not 42. You know what I mean? He's had a lot of less wear and tear.
And he
because
hates Carson Wentz. So
I don't think he does, Tori. That guy's in New Orleans. That crumble laws in New Orleans.
I'm still teetering on that.
I don't teeter. One guy had a lot to say after 24 hours after a loss. Was all contract talk. 24 hours after a loss. Huh.
Here he is. Here he is, Tom. Here he is.
God, how good do you think the Eagles are? How many times do I got to say their wide receiving core wasn't good enough? Who was I the guy on A2D giving Jalen Reagor a handy?
Name names.
Was I the guy giving him a handy on draft night? Or was I the guy yelling all night for Jerry Jeudy? Yelling 27 weeks before the draft for Jerry Jeudy. I'm sorry. I wasn't that guy. So who crowned this wide receiving core? I said, you use the second round pick in JJ. He should develop, right? You would hope. Nope. No, not a good pick. Right? Doesn't look like it. And you use the first round pick on Jalen. So I would assume what? I would assume that would work. Right? I didn't think it would work. But you use the assets on him. Well, I don't remember saying any of his crap. Jamar says it's not all the receiving core; it's mostly the quarterback. Huh? Okay, Jamar, but who's on the outside that you respect? Who you double teaming on the outside, Jamar?
Tori did freeze.
Yes, Jamar, though.
The offensive line. Oh, there you go.
Tori, who? I mean, Tori. Jeez, who just said that? Who was the last comment? Where is he?
Oh, Jamar.
Jamar. Who on the outside are you double teaming?
I don't have an answer.
Nobody. So, all right. So you guys want to get in a little GM debate?
Yes.
The three GMs, and we'll just leave the Flyers out of this. They've done a good job, so they actually get a free pass for once.
Yeah, right.
How about that?
The Flyers get a free pass out of this, but we're gonna obviously. Go ahead.
Even their old GM does too, because the old GM is the one that set this obviously current thing up, and then Fletcher just took them over the hump.
Yep.
Look at
So yeah.
Look at this. Jamar.
He only plays about 20% of the
5
snaps.
years ago, 4 years ago, he was. I mean, listen, he can be a really solid number two still if he had a guy like a healthy Alshon on the other side, right? So I don't fully disagree with it. He can't still be impactful, but he's not a one where you're scared of. What are you scared of anymore?
My Wi-Fi is much more than a bullpen.
All right, so out of the three crumb GMs, Elton Brand, Matt Klintak, okay, and the great Howie Roseman, who does have a Super Bowl ring. All right, where would you rank worst to first out of those three GMs? And I want the family to chime in. We'll read them off. Jamar, you would double team them. Okay, maybe in Madden. I ain't scared of this Deshaun Jackson right now. And to say you would double team him when Jalen Ramsey locked them down almost with a ton of one-on-one. Okay.
Plus, he's not on the field. He's not a full-time player anymore.
Nope.
He's like
Kawhi Leonard. He's freaking load management.
Yeah, if he was a threat all the time, I would, I'd tend to agree with you, but he's not a full-time player anymore. So you're talking about last week, you were talking about Jalen Reagor and JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Right. He wouldn't trade Deshaun for DeAndre Hopkins, probably. So, you know what I mean? Like, he wouldn't give up Deshaun for DeAndre Hopkins. He said, I don't know.
You mean Miles?
Mm-mm.
You actually mean Deshaun?
Oh, yeah, he probably wouldn't give up Deshaun for DeAndre. Not him, but like some of the family out there. Andre says, Elton Brand. I guess Elton's your worst because we're going worst to first. So Your
It
3
sounds
hole.
like Allen's the best.
Yeah. Clintack's probably the worst if we're going by this. He's the number one in suck.
Okay, I mean, you can go that way too, guys. I mean, whatever way. I don't care. Whatever way you float your boat, we'll read it out.
Oh my goodness, this is gonna be good.
Oh, well, mine's easy. I mean, if you guys want me to, mine's easy. I already know it. It's quick. It's quick.
I think I got mine too.
It's
Go
quick.
ahead, Tom. Yeah,
it's
Tom, lead us off.
Matt Quintack, hands down, is the worst.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with that one.
Agree.
Matt Quintack is the top GM, worst GM
He's my number
right now
one too.
in Philadelphia.
I heard something. You want to hear what I heard? You want to hear a little insight I heard?
Hold on, let me go full screen.
Heard a little insight today. That credible source with it
Ooh.
said they overheard Matt Quintack after they already hired Joe Girardi and Andy McPhail. And they said that, you know what? If Reese Hoskins would have had a 270 last year, Gabe would still be here.
Huh?
That's coming from your general manager
Thank you, Reese.
after the guy was fired and you already hired Joe Girardi. That same general manager who ran out a single A bullpen with an offense that can contend with anybody in the National League. On a night-to-night basis, they can contend offensively. They've proven that in this little stretch so far, that they can hit the baseball. Even with guys banged up, they still prove they can hit the baseball. So they've proven that throughout this stretch. And you put a bullpen together like that, where it takes your head coach to almost call out what's out there to the media for you to actually go out and then go out and trade for some guys that are just guys anyway. And we all thought they would be better because they've had a little bit of track record, but they haven't been. They haven't been. So you put together this lineup that can flat out hit the baseball. Or you go out and spend all this money on Zach Wheeler, and you don't shore up the back end of your bullpen? You wouldn't have holes in your starting five, fine. But you have big time, legitimate holes all throughout your bullpen? And you told us this was the year we were going to contend? And the same general manager who traded a pretty good young catcher and your best prospect arm for JT Realmuto, which we all agree with, right? But you got to sign JT then to agree with it.
Yep.
This is what's happened throughout his tenure here. All right? Now, Alec Baum can play. That's his pick, right? Adam Hazley looks like he can play a little bit. That's his pick, right? So, I mean, some of these kids look like they can play. I'll give some credit to the farm system, looking like some kids come up and they can play, right, Greg? We've waited for that for a while. So I'll give some credit there, right? A little bit. I mean, I'm not talking a lot because I can't. Because of all the extra. Because of all the extra, I freaking can't. And it's a disgrace that this team, at this point of the year, is not in the postseason already. It's a disgrace with the amount of leads this baseball team's had. To be given up by the back end of your bullpen is an indictment on the guy who puts a fucking roster together. So he's number one.
Go back one more because he's absolutely right. Dan Shyrock.
If this team had a respectable bullpen, they would have won the division. Absolutely respectable. We're just talking about middle of the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Middle
Mediocre.
of the road.
Mediocre.
How many games did they blow?
Everyone.
How many losses do they have? What, 29? Maybe all 29 of them.
Wow. Yeah. For real. At least probably 20.
It's mind-boggling.
Too many to count.
So my
Too many to
second
count.
general manager is not Howie Roseman. And the reason Howie Roseman cannot go 1 or 2 on this list is because he did win a Super Bowl here. It was his roster. You know what I mean? It was his moves that helped be a part of that. He did bring in this head coach, regardless of what's going on right now with them, right? And how bad his drafts have been. He overshadows the other two on what he does well. Or what he has done well. Fair?
Yep.
More of a track record than either one of them in some success and a Super Bowl. So he can't go more than 3. He just can't because the other guy's been more inept than he has. So the other guy makes Blockbuster City last year. And the guy that he couldn't figure out a way to keep, got a 3-1 series lead. About to go to the NBA Finals, possibly, and Jimmy Butler. And I understand Jimmy didn't want to stay here, so you fire every fucking person he don't like in the organization. They get him to stay here then. So who do you want going, Jim? Who do you want going? You want Brett going? Say it. We'll do it right now. We'll go. Let's go walk to do it together. Come on, take a walk, Jim. We'll go do it together. We'll say hello. We'll get some lunch and we'll can them together. Who else you want?
Yep.
Who else you want? Because he's not going to say Ben. Not once he gets rid of Brett, right? So I mean, you got to do everything in your power, or before you make the deal, you got to make it a sign and trade. You got to get him away to stay right away, then, right, and give him that money right away. So there's only 2 ways you can do it. All right, I'm fine trading Landry Shaman for Tobias. Okay, I mean that's just like a trade you have to do. All right, so that one doesn't get me as much. All right, I mean I got no time maxing Tobias, but now you're caught with your pants down on that one. You have no choice, right? So that one you're up against it. So I'll give him that one. You know what I mean? He had no choice there. Okay, but that Jimmy Butler one's going to haunt his tenure here in Philadelphia for a long time. Unless he figures out a way to figure it out. Right? I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
It's going to haunt him. And the only reason he's not won is because how ridiculous the roster Matt Klintak has put together here and the back end of this bullpen. That's why. That's why he's not won. And then Howie Roseman's 3. Just the Jimmy Butler alone, it's so egregious that it could be 1, but not the way the Phillies have blown games this year. No way. You can't compare it. You just can't compare it.
Ralphie?
They're my 3 in my order, peeps. Hope you guys enjoy them. I really, truly do. Matt Klintak can kiss my ass. Freaking door.
Number 1 for me is going to be also Matt Klintak. I mean, it is September 23rd on a Wednesday at 11:40 p.m. And the Phillies are still fighting for their lives. I don't
want to do it wrong. People get upset if I don't give if I don't properly talk. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's true. Shame on me. No, Don was in the chat.
Matt Klintak's number 1. Obviously, where the Phillies are at right now is unexcusable. This bullpen needed help throughout the offseason. We even sat here multiple times throughout the offseason on numerous shows saying this bullpen still need more pitching, even though you got Zach Wheeler. Nothing happened throughout the offseason. We all knew all the holes that are coming into the season with the bullpen, and this is what happens when you don't put any stock into your bullpen. Nobody scares you coming out of the pen. Sorry, nobody scares you.
Brandon Workman doesn't scare you?
Yeah, no, it doesn't scare me. Doesn't scare me at all.
Heath Hembry doesn't scare you?
No. And Tommy's spot on. I mean, we're rolling now a single A bullpen every single night, blowing leads left and right. I mean, how many times have you turned on a Philly game? You're up 6-0 in the 7th, and then you turn it off for a little bit. You come back and you're down 10-6 in the 9th. I mean, it's getting ridiculous to the point where it's old shit. It's old shit. And the thing with JT, that deal should have been done in the offseason. Give the man what he wants, call it even, and move on. And just give him the big payday that he needs and he wants and he deserves it. He's the best catcher in baseball. Number 2. See, I mean, I'm not a Sixers guy. So, I mean, but I got to put out, I'm going to be realist. I'm going to put out, I'm not going to be, a dickhead. I'm going to put out in Bryant number 2. He has to be number 2. Obviously, the reasons that Tommy listed off, not keeping Butler, not doing anything that he could to keep Butler, and then, giving, Al Horford that money, and then Al Horford playing like he is right now. But, we'll see what happens in the offseason and stuff like that. And then Howie, I mean, he's got the Super Bowl. So, I mean, that right there solidifies him as at least somewhat good of a GM. But it's. I mean, somebody said it down in the comments. So you can list them 1A, 1B, or 1C. I mean, they're all first place to be the worst GMs in Philadelphia.
And
So I mean, either way you put it, I mean, it's fucking slop.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying, Ralphie, and it does. To me, it was a little bit more difficult just because of this, and I fully agree.
No, I can't. Philly sports passion. Sorry, Rick, cut you off. Right? No, I couldn't live through this 162 days.
I mean, we have in
because I can't turn them off.
history.
Right? How many times do you say I'm never watching him again, and then it's 6 o'clock the next day? You're like, oh, where they at?
You're
Let's
on.
go.
Well, you know why they constantly bring you back in?
Every day.
Yeah, Greg, you know why they constantly bring you back in? Because
you want to see if they're going to blow a lead or not. That's why they bring it back in.
That too, I guess. But every time you know, you're like, all right, I'll catch you in later, and then boom, 3-0 lead, and you're like, all right, I'll take one.
All right, Harper hit a bomb first inning. Let's go. We're back.
Right, they draw you back in offensively, and then you get the knife, right in the heart.
It's this baseball team constructed as it is, without just take the bullpen out of it. I mean, their lineup is good enough to win you multiple games every single night. Obviously, your 1 and 2 starters as your pitchers should win multiple games every single night or whenever they get on the hill. But I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, 29 wins, and you're fighting for your life with the fucking Giants for the last wild card spot right now, with 3 games left. You got to win all 3 of these games. And by the way, the Rays just clinched the AL East tonight, so hopefully that does good for us because they won't play nobody. They'll bench everybody, get them ready for the playoffs.
Right? Yeah, hopefully that's the case. So we have probably Kyle checking in. One to take jabs at me and one to take jabs at everybody on there. So that's cute. I'm glad you found your burner, Colangelo. Good for you. Glad you could join us. Enjoy the view count. So time's yours. And go ahead, Ralphie. And then he thinks the Mets will sign JT Don.
Don. We were friends up until right about now.
Yeah, no, that's probably the worst thing you've ever said.
Don.
Imagine that.
Ralphie, I actually think,
Don.
For the 3, I actually thought it was more difficult just because, and like I said before, I completely understand that, one has a ring. People are saying the other guy's only been here for a couple of years. I understand that, but and to be honest, and I'm not putting Roseman 1 because of the Super Bowl, so I value that in. But part of me makes it difficult to not excuse and kind of factor in everything that he did in 2017, but to talk about here's an organization and a team that had the formula in the palm of their hands. They had the core, like we talked about, a core that was locked up for 5 years. Everything was good. You had the core. You had all of your identity there. And you did everything possible to screw it the hell up. And I understand I understand it doesn't help when part of that is the quarterback gets hurt, but it doesn't. At the end of the day, when you talk about helping your quarterback, helping your offense, helping sustain the success again and again and again and again, winning culture again and again and again and again. And every year you've regressed. And every year since the Super Bowl, the organizational moves from the top down to the bottom have not gotten better. In past years, and you talk about organizations, I'm not even going to talk about the team in New England. I'm going to talk about the Seahawks, to where, sure, they look like they were going to go on a run, a dynasty. But you talk about how they've stayed relevant again and again and again. And a lot of that has to do with their quarterback is just freaking amazing. But also, you have an identity of what works. And you fill it out from there. It's not, hey, we're going to try and do this with the offense this year. And we're going to try and do this the following year. And this the following year. No. You had the formula. You had a window to where the NFC as a whole was a little bit down. And especially the NFC East was a little bit down, to say the least. 2 of the teams that you got to play in a combined 4 games a season sucked. And you're basically backing up against the wall again and again and again. So when you talk about building on success and driving it, you've done the exact opposite. But I'll put him 3. I'll put him 3 because we have a ring. Something we can't say about the other 2 clowns. And see, this is where it becomes difficult here, okay? Because when you also talk about the formula to winning, I believe and I think we all believe this, the Sixers had it. The Sixers, and we talk about it ad nauseum, and people think it's funny, but we're being honest. We are 5 bounces away from an NBA title. I don't think I'm far-fetched in saying that. Because you win that series, you're beating the Bucks, and then obviously the Warriors just imploded from within. You're 5 bounces away. And I understand things happen in the locker room. I understand. But what this organization, and mostly this GM, does, and I don't give a damn if he's older, if he's more difficult to work with, doesn't matter to me, because players play, winners win, killers kill. When you talk about, especially in the playoffs, you took the side of a head coach that underachieved ahead of the guy that put this team on his back. The only reason why I put him 2 and not 1 is, number one, the guy I'm going to get to just sucks 10 times more. And also, he has the benefit of the doubt for a little bit now that, hey, I believe this coach that we had here sucked. So, hey, he has the benefit of the doubt to where if we still have Al Horford, I don't truly believe Al Horford just stopped. He just forgot how to play basketball. I don't believe that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, this is all we're going to get out of him. I don't believe that Tobias Harris is a friggin' wimp and he doesn't do anything when it matters. I don't believe that none of our bench pieces can play at all. I believe that there's a coach with a pulse, and no disrespect to Brett Brown, but I'm being truthful here. I believe there's a coach out there that can get the most, or at least a little bit more out of them than what we saw in the past. But I'll tell you what will quickly make him number one, or at least a little bit closer. If you go out and you sign and you hire Mike D'Antoni, you're getting close. You're getting close to becoming one. Because then you talk about, hey, we're going to require a full roster kind of overhaul and look at the true identity of this offense. Mike D'Antoni's not the answer. Because you're finding the guy that is the exact opposite of what we need to do with roster establishment and running an offense. You couldn't find a worse guy. And Ryan, the Rockets were good. Did they win? Oh, the Suns were good. Did they win? The Knicks, the Lakers. Hey, Ralphie, he was with the Lakers, right?
Correct.
Did they win? What was that?
No.
Sorry, CZ. As a Bengals fan, you guys are fine this week.
There's no way in hell you lose to us after
Thanks
that.
Thanks for chiming in, brother. Good luck this week.
Not too much luck.
Versus two
right.
cities versus each other.
Right, you're right. I mean, he's in no man's land though, Alton Brand, right now. I mean, He's at the mercy of his 2 potential stars. That's it. I mean, that's always at the mercy at. If them guys, you know what I mean? If them guys don't become star players in this league, then he's dead anyway.
Yep.
He's at the mercy of them now.
Yep.
And that's the bet he made.
The best that can happen for them is that they go out and they get pieces to surround them to put them in the best position to succeed. So I can say, and honestly, and he's been here for the shortest amount of time out of the 3 we're discussing, as crazy as it is to say, the jury's still out on Alton Brand, because honestly, and I've said this before, I believe, aside from the obvious on going out and getting Tobias and Butler, not bringing them both back, and especially not bringing Butler back, I think what really screwed over this team was the year before, was the season of Brett Brown as GM. I think that's what really is going to come back and bite us when you talk about missed opportunities. But the number one, and I almost want to put a combo special, because I feel like this guy, because he's so irrelevant, he doesn't do anything, people forget he's even there. It's a combo piece of Andy McPhail and Matt Klintak. I mean, we could talk about JT Realmuto, and I completely understand when people say, hey, no long-term deal going to a potential aging catcher is usually going to work out. But guess what? Okay, that's fine. I agree with that. But then you don't make that trade. Especially when you make that trade and you tell the team, the organization, the fan base in the league, hey, we're going to start winning now. We're going to try to win now. And within 2 months, you pull back the curtains and you say, once again, if we do, we do. We don't, we don't. You gave yourself a 2-year window. Not 13, like the Bryce Harper contract. You gave yourself 2. Because that was the JT Realmuto contract. That was the years of control. And really, you got about 1.5 years out of him because of this. You know what I'm saying? And then Matt Klintak has the friggin' audacity to scoff reporters and say, well, listen, guys, that trade was made knowing we have 2 years of control for JT Realmuto. So that means the trade sucked then. Because while he can say, oh, we got 2 really good years out of JT, what did that amount to? September collapse, and we're watching right now another September collapse. So we've argued about it before. I never believed they were bringing JT back because I don't believe they ever felt they needed to bring JT Realmuto back. And it's stupid. It's ridiculous. But it's the bed they've made. And now we need to look at an organization and a roster where we have one guy who's now hurt and he's been streaky all year. I love him, but Bryce Harper's been streaky. A lot of money, a lot of years tied into him. You have Bohm, who's legit. You have Nola, who's been either great or he's not been very good at all, who's going to get paid in a couple of years. You have Wheeler, who you invest a lot of money into. And then the rest, you got to just figure out from there. You got to hope that Moniak is legit. You got to hope that Hazley becomes a bench guy to become an everyday center fielder or outfielder. And then you got to try and bring back Gregorius. And then whatever you do with the catcher, hey, what are you going to do? You got it. Hey, you're going to have Andrew Knapp? Joseph, what is this? Joseph Horakovsky. Reads my comments and rephrase them? No, I wasn't actually, Joseph, but that's okay. So no, Matt Klentak and this entire organization, I've said it before, they're one of the worst organizations in sports since 2011, 2012. And it's a shame.
Well, I mean, because you're not all in. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, there's no other way to go about it. I mean, you can look back on the trade and everybody's going to make that trade, and rightfully so. You have to make that trade.
Yep.
But you also have to, do your due diligence to make sure you can get a guy signed. So again, why are you making trades to go all in when your roster isn't constructed to go all in? That's how it goes. You know what I mean? You don't go all in offensively and then not be essentially all in on the back end. Like if I'm all in for something, I'm making sure my roster is complete in all areas. It's never going to be perfect, but it's going to be complete.
What up, Harlem?
I think we can all agree there. Kiss my ass, Harlem. I can't do the Cowboys thing right now. So I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yep.
It's a shame that conversation is even being had right now. That this organization now doesn't want to spend money.
Yeah,
Greg,
absolutely.
Who's your 1 through 3, Greg?
And Philly guy, you're right. JJ would have been a good asset to have, and going back to just the bond and the familiarity that he had with Joe. It was something that you shouldn't have really broken up, right? My number one is, just as everybody else has been Matt Klentak. For every reason that you guys have said, plus baseball is the one sport without a salary cap. So there's really nothing hard about your job. If you want a guy, go pay him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like if you want a guy, go pay him. Right? There's no salary cap. Sure, there's the luxury tax and all that. I get all that. But there is no salary cap. So it's not like the other guys where they have to, make, figure out moves. And plus, when you got an owner that comes out and says, we're going to spend stupid money, then you go out and spend stupid money. You don't spend stupid money to only say, yeah, we're good with 2 years of JT. Well, it would be really nice if you had a good, young, major league ready catcher to take over those reins. Oh, you traded him to get JT. Because if you think Andrew Knapp's an everyday catcher, he's not. I like him. He's a good backup. He's going to get exposed every day. He's going to get exposed 130 games. You know what I mean?
At the plate, he absolutely does.
Yeah, at the plate.
Yeah, he's still
I mean, he's decent. He's good enough defensively, but again, even he's 30 years old, right? You know what I mean? So, what? It's just, huh?
He's been around forever, Greg. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Been here forever. I think he handles his staff well, but that ends there.
He does, absolutely.
It ends there.
But that doesn't mean 2 years of JT was worth that trade. And then we've hit on everything else. Although I'm not going to try to kill the guy over, a cup of coffee, but Moniak doesn't look like the guy right now. Moniak doesn't look like to be it. You know what I mean? Like, at least defensively, where you thought he might be able to play right away, he's had a lot of blunders so far. Right? I'm not gonna sit here and kill the kid for a cup of tea late in the year, playing, more stressful baseball than he probably ever played in his life. Right? I get all that. And obviously he's going to have a chance to prove, especially next year, that he might be able to be a part of this team. But short sample size, first glance, you missed on that pick. So you better hope Bryson Stott pans out if you're not going to re-sign Didi. You better hope Adam Hazley continues to develop into a 300 hitter, because obviously his power is not there. He's not going to be that power type of hitter that you get out of center field. And then, where do you go from there? So, number one, you guys have already touched on the bullpen. Matt Klentak is there. I'm going to put Howie Roseman 2. And I'm going to put Howie Roseman 2 because I kind of feel bad for Elton, because I think Elton's over his head. I think Elton wasn't even, prepared enough to do the job anyway. And we kind of gave it to him, so it didn't look like that Brett was doing everything, right? And kind of gave another scapegoat in there. I'm going to put Howie number 2. Yes, he won the Super Bowl, and he gets some sort of a pass for that. But he hasn't drafted very well. And, when he went up and drafted made those trades to draft Carson Wentz, and then gave him $100 million, you made a commitment that this guy is your franchise quarterback, is the guy that we've been missing since Donovan, right? And you made that commitment. So if 2 years after that, you're going to turn around and draft his potential replacement, and then start, whether it's you or somebody, start rumblings that whatever's going on this week with Carson, then that's on you, Howie Roseman. That is completely on you, because then that means that you missed on that pick. And then you very quickly go to number 1. Because if you missed on that pick, then that means that we set the franchise back years. And I don't think he missed on the pick. But I'm saying if they decide to make a knee-jerk reaction and say trade him or whatever, right, or just start Jalen over him, then you missed that pick and you've set the franchise back.
Yes, I mean, they didn't draft his replacement 2 years later. They just gave him an extension recently and drafted his replacement 4 years into it. So, yeah. Still early in the process of drafting your replacement, or drafting what we as the fan base perceive as your replacement. It's the only reason you draft a quarterback in the second round. Yeah. Anything like third, fourth, whatever later is not a hit. If you would have drafted him in the third round, I don't think people would have been saying too much. I still think there would have been some like, what are you doing? Right. There's talent on the board, but the second round's really where it gets you. So, listen, I agree with you. I just don't have him second because of the Super Bowl. Right. But I hear you.
And then Elton, like I said, I don't think he'd done enough and had been around enough to be a GM in this league anyway. And I think that's showing with a lot of the moves that he's making. They seem to be knee-jerk reaction moves, right? Fine, you want to go all in, you want to trade for Jim, you want to trade for Tobias, cool, let's go. But you better have a plan. You better have a plan on how you're going to proceed after this. Because obviously everyone sees what Jimmy's doing now. And if you said no to Jimmy Butler because you wanted to hold on to Brett Brown for 1 year, then that's on you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like if you held on to Brett Brown and you said, we're going to give Brett 1 more year, but Jimmy walked because of this guy, then that's on you, because you should have meant the other way. And then, now, the coaching search right now, D'Antonio being, reported guy, and Billy Donovan going to Chicago. I just think Elton's over his head. And he could be second to where, you know what I mean? But I don't think he was supposed to be there anyway. I just think he's a name and a scapegoat with a title. And, that's unfortunate for him.
Can I ask you guys this? And it could be a dumb question, but you're seeing other teams do it. What are the Sixers waiting for exactly? Like, why? like clearly there's no restrictions on interviewing people because the Bulls just got somebody. Like, why are we pulling a Phillies and like waiting for all the, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we waiting for?
Well, what else would you expect from an organization guy caught with their pants down throughout over the last couple of years? I mean, what else would you expect? I mean, status quo.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe they're waiting for someone on the Lakers. You know, Jason Kidd. You know what I mean? I don't know what those restrictions are with your team still playing. I know other sports you have to at least wait till in between a series or something like that.
I don't know how it is in basketball, but I think you have to wait until they're officially done.
Yeah, so I don't know what that's like. I know in the NFL you can do it in between weeks. You know what I mean? Of a playoff, but that's the only thing I can think of, right? Because you're absolutely right. There's names out there, whether we like them or not, but there's names out there, right? Now the Clippers are out, so you would think if it was Ty Lue or Sam Cassell, they'd at least be brought in for interviews. You know what I mean? Or at least talked about. But you're right; they're not even being talked about right now.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing like, oh, they're going to bring in the funny thing is, we hear over the next 10 days they're going to bring in Billy Donovan. That went well. Tyronn Lue and Mike D'Antoni. Those are going to be like the three leading guys. Okay, Tyron's been out of the playoffs for like a week. What are we waiting for exactly? Like Tyronn Lue, apparently some friggin' people on in the know were saying that they were getting ready to sign Tyronn Lue like the night they got out of the playoffs.
Yep.
It's like what are we doing?
Tyler Hero wearing a Phillies cap right now.
Really?
Yeah, he dropped 37 tonight.
Yep, wearing a
37.
Wearing a Phillies.
What?
Phillies cap. Yep.
I'll cry my eyes out.
That just hurts even more. You know what I mean? It stings a little bit more.
Just the ultimate tease. Now it's got us like the picture of like what it could look like if he was here.
Every time I see Jimmy,
Harlem, don't do this to us. Can we wait until week 4? Let's not do that.
Okay. I mean, it can be finished when.
How about the guy trying to send me a Dak jersey?
Oh, did you see that, Marcus? Yeah, he was saying that if the Eagles win?
Yeah.
You doing that?
But first off, he's acting like I don't want the Eagles to win. Of course I want the Eagles to fucking win. I'm just so prepared for the losses. Like, I try to look at games like I'm not a fan. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to look at it outside. And that's just what I say. But yeah, I'm a collector of all things jersey. So if you want to send me a Dak jersey, I'd be welcome to that.
Listen, you can make me a Dallas Cowboys fan right now. All right. And I would still say the Eagles should beat the Bengals. You could put me down in the big ball down in Dallas in the restaurant up there, circling the city. And I'm still going to say Eagles should beat the Bengals.
They should, yes. Should.
Yeah. That's all I wanted you to say.
They should, yeah. But I try to look at besides that. Like the first game, I'm all in on, oh yeah, hyped Eagles up. But after I saw what I saw.
Like I almost don't want to know for everybody, but like what do we have their records being at the bye?
What week's the bye? I don't pay attention to that shit.
Week 8. So they'll be playing 7 games before then.
So that's after the Niners, the Bengals, Steelers, Ravens.
And then Giants on Thursday Night Football, and then we go on a 10-day. And then we come back after the bye against Dallas.
We have Dallas at home first, correct?
Yes, but it doesn't matter. Because there's no fans.
Yeah.
But no, actually it does matter because, of course, Dallas has fans, so I can't.
But also, how is that fair? I feel like the NFL should have all no fans or all have a little bit of fans.
That I agree with you. That's not
that
cool. Nobody can disagree with. That's
not fair.
Common sense talk. Real simple. No, I got them 4-3.
Okay. So you haven't taken the next 2 then and then stealing one.
Mm-hmm.
Or steal, and then I guess doing their business against the Giants.
Yes.
Even on a short week. Okay.
Yes, I'm winning that Giants, and I have them stealing one against either Pittsburgh
or the Ravens.
Somehow.
I say 2-5.
Jeez.
Ralphie?
Yeah, 4-3 range for the Birds at the week.
See,
the bye week, excuse me.
The thing I'm scared about is that, is the stretch of Ravens than Giants, because you're playing a defensive. I mean, you're playing a defensive loaded Ravens team, and then you got to come back Thursday night. Division. Yeah. Now I guess it helps that we don't have to worry about Saquon, and Sterling's going to be out for a little bit, so that takes off a lot of steam on that offense. And I'm sure Ingram will be hurt by then, because of course he will be. But no, I mean, I can see that, Tom. I can see that. Greg, what about you? I don't know if you heard it. What do you have their record being after 7 weeks entering the bye?
2-5.
That's what I said.
Cincy the Giants.
Yeah, I have us 3-4. So then you two have them out then. By the bye week, you have them basically out of the playoffs. The 2-5 crew. Because they can't, I mean, they start 2-5. You can't. Unless this division's starting 7-9.
Damn. 2-5. Jesus Christ.
I mean, realistically, I'm thinking they could beat the Niners. And then the Giants, hopefully. If not, I'll see like another random win. But
I can't do this every week. God damn it.
No, I don't know. I think Ralphie, I think you're going to be okay.
I
think this team's.
I want to be okay.
3-4 at the bye. Still in it enough. Still in it to make a run. So I mean, nothing that you've seen in the first 2 weeks should tell you that. But you expect Carson to play better than he has, and if Carson plays well and his defense plays better, which shouldn't be hard than what they played, this team should win Cincinnati. They should go to a banged up San Fran team and beat them. They should be able to go. They should be able to then, take one of the two in either the Ravens or Steelers. Probably more realistically the Steelers, right, than the Ravens. So okay, and then the team should be able to beat the Giants, but they should at least be able to contend with the Steelers and make that a game that you can pull out, and that's where you could see like the 3-4, 4-3. But either one of them keeps you in it. 2-5, yeah, you're done. It's a wrap. They could be 2-5, real easy. So, I'm just trying to talk some good shit into existence. Not the opposite.
And again, that kind of falls into, because I think most of us, at least, I think we agree at some point they're going to go on a little bit of a stretch, but kind of comes into it to where if you start 2-5, is like, okay, well then you're really buried.
Well, then you got to win out, or you can lose one game in the second half. To go 10 and to go 10-6 or 11-5. You know what I mean?
And then you've got I know I'm not trying to play the schedule game, but then you've got it. The good thing is you've got a lot of division games in the second half, but then you've got got Saints, you got Packers in Lambeau, you got the Seahawks who we never beat, we got the Cardinals with MVP Kyler and who we should have had Hopkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, it could be really ugly here. I mean, no other way to say it. I mean, the schedule doesn't look good, but again, this team starts winning some football games, and then we look like we can win some of these games on the schedule, right? I mean, they start playing better football starting this week. We can start having conversations about them maybe being able to beat some of these other tougher games. Right now, I mean, you can make the case of them not winning any of them.
No, because it's not like in past years where we're comparing a good football team in the Eagles to a bad football team and fill in the blank. I mean, and that's why I get where Tori's coming from to an extent. I don't want to admit it because it's like darkness. So it's like the pit of hell. But it's you look at it, you collapse against Washington, and then you get embarrassed to where it's not even a game in the fourth quarter to the Rams at home.
Well, I just don't want to more buy into her her darkness, because then it goes against everything that I thought this football team and this quarterback and this coach were.
Yep.
And in this defenses, they went out and tried to upgrade. You know,
More
then it takes
lies.
away all them things that we thought they were, right?
Yep.
So it makes it hard to ever judge again.
But
And
that
it
goes
proves
like
that the
that goes
culture is
with
broken.
that goes with every Philly team we have though. Like we think there's so much more until we see them play a game, and then we're like, okay, they're shit. Like that's just what I'm used to the past solid year of all Philly sports.
Like
On
if we-
paper, they look great.
if we weren't an Eagles fan, would we defend Carson as much?
No, probably not.
I mean, Sean's been real about Carson. He's not real about a lot of stuff, but he's always said, "I'll trade you. You can send him up the turnpike anytime you don't want him." So I mean, I've seen people easily open arms with him.
Yeah.
You wonder if you just get a little homer.
It's
Philly 024. Who's Lance? Lance who? I'm blanking on Lance.
I don't know. Anybody named Lance, I'm not drafting.
Trevor Lawrence.
I'm not
Yeah, no,
drafting.
I get the Trevor.
Oh,
Lance-
I
You're a
thought he was
receiver?
calling him Lance.
Isn't there a receiver on LSU, Lance something or something?
Maybe you talk about Chance, Jamar Chance,
Oh, maybe it's him.
or Jamar Chase.
I'm not taking anybody with the first name Lance. So
I'm not taking you. I'm not taking.
That's
Well,
what I'm thinking, 'cause I don't know. I can't think of anyone named Lance.
We only draft Jalen's from now on, so
Trey Lance. Trey Lance.
okay, he can
Lance.
probably play. If his first name was Lance Trey, then we got an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, here you go. North Dakota too. It's a friggin' Here we go.
God, stop. Just
Perfect.
stop.
It's a
Just
reset. I'm trying to find.
I know who he is now.
Because that's a great question, Tom. Like, if we weren't Philly fans or Eagle fans, how would we look at Carson? I've been trying the last 3 minutes trying to find a good comparison to a current quarterback in this league that's shown. Because really, and like we talked about the other day, Tom, the facts are we saw rookie Wentz great, and then the offensive line crumbles to where that's kind of a wash. You see MVP, you see what he can be. 2018, most just consider it a wash because he came off the major injury, came back too soon, and then he had the back to where you kind of can't even get a good glimpse of that. 2019, you saw kind of a lot of what you're seeing now, but then the triumphant rebound and just putting the team on his back and going to the playoffs, and then cheap shot. You've seen every side of the planet with this guy. But that's why it's so frustrating, because the biggest constant is that 2017, because he did the same thing for the longest time. So it's you want to value that, and you want to see the formula, and you want to see what it resulted in. But then the thing, and again, nobody here is saying we want the Jalen to come in and we think it's going to be better. Nobody's saying we want him to be traded. Carson, he's still our franchise quarterback. And I'm going to believe that probably until he's no longer here. But it's my worry, and what I kind of look at through a non-Eagles lens, is that it's the same issues again and again and again. And whoever you want to blame, Doug or the offense not putting him in the correct offense and not letting him play out of the pocket, whether that's Howie not giving him weapons. Like we always talk about, Tom, and we all do, trends. Eventually, it's going to become, this is just the guy. This is what he is. I truly believe that, and we talked about it, and Doug's kind of hinted about it before, that, we tell Carson to get rid of the football. We tell him that he doesn't have to make or break the entire game on one play. And it's kind of like there's some kind of disconnect. And at the end of the day, is that just who this guy is, to where he's never going to let a play go, and he's always going to try to make the most of it?
He did do that this week.
See, I disagree.
Way more than he's ever done.
I disagree for this, because I believe that the old Carson, I'm going to make a play out of nothing, I think that's what, in a way, cost us this game on the offensive side, because we've seen in the past he doesn't trust J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and I agree with that. and I understand that. But then the one time you're going to trust him is when he's double covered, heading into the end zone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, we want you to pick your spots, and he was. I agree, Tori. In a lot of the aspects on Sunday, he was.
He threw it away, which I haven't seen him do.
Yeah. And I was watching with Ralph, and we were like, oh, he threw it away. How about that? But then it's all kind of canceled out because I believe it was on that same drive, Tori. He was throwing some away. He was like, okay, we're going to live for another play. And then that happens. Then I'm like, what are we? And I don't buy into the people saying, oh, Dallas Goedert was open the end zone. No, he wasn't. Like that all, I hate that. Where people like look at a picture of like a guy being open instead of looking at how the play developed or who's blocking Wentz. Like I can't stand that at all.
Yeah.
But then you have the quote from Reagor saying when he did the similar thing to Reagor was saying, I could have gone for it more or done more to get the ball. So it's like, is JJ running it correctly there? You know what I mean? Like, is he supposed to be somewhere else? There's like a lot to look into. I don't know, but I don't know.
Then I agree. I understand what you're saying. My counter to that would be then if he's not in the place he should be and he's double covered,
don't
throw him the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, I love him to death, but
yeah,
that's my one worry. It worries me more than the injuries, to be honest.
He's 100% in his head, like completely. Like you can just tell. It's like a batter in baseball. Like their swing is off. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't know what to do to get that back. But it's like everything he normally does is reverse.
Yeah. And again, I agree with that. And I say it's not all his fault. I think it's the product of what he has around him. And again, that's fine. Like people say, oh, well, you know, you're saying Carson needs help. That means he's not elite. No, because that goes back to what Tom's been trying to tell everybody, even though nobody's trying to listen, or, you know, on his video the other day, which is spot on, that, listen, is it too much to ask for a guy that had success, but he's also had a lot of not so much continuity in the offense and the identity of the offense? Is it too much to ask for have one constant that's not a tight end?
Yeah.
Like, is it too much to ask? So that's why, like, people coming at Tom and saying, oh, you're making excuses. No. It's not even a Carson thing. It's an offensive outlook thing. You value a Miles Sanders who we like, but he's a running back who we always talk about. When you talk about value, you know, a wide receiver is more valuable or a left tackle is more valuable than the running back. It's just the way it is, especially when you can find guys and you can pick them off a tree that are like, okay, we can get you that's serviceable at running back. He values the wrong people. And that's the problem. You see opportunities to go out and get Ramsey, who can change your defense, Fitzpatrick, who can change your defense. Hell, even freaking Emmanuel Sanders or Robbie Anderson. You know what I'm saying? And or DeAndre Hopkins or Stephon Diggs. And they say no, because we're going to get gadget here and gadget here. And nobody's trying to rip them apart, but it just, we're looking at it and we can't avoid the truth, which sucks.
Now you're spot on. You're 100% right.
So I'll get off my soapbox now.
Welcome to the dark side.
Sweep said, part of being a gunslinger as a QB is bad decision. Just ask Favre. I'm more worried about him taking care of the football and staying healthy come playoff time. You know, obviously Sweeps is a Dolphins fan. He sees it from an outside angle. He's not necessarily an Eagles fan, but he is a fan of Carson. So he sees it from a different side than obviously we are as fans and as, you know, as believers of Carson. And he's absolutely right. You know what I mean? And, you know, obviously if he comes in and becomes Brett Favre, we're all good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're all signed up for that. But with Brett Favre came those bonehead and bad decisions and terrible timing of, you know, interceptions that, you know, like put your defense at a bad spot. But, you know, obviously with that then comes big plays, you know, exciting plays and the stuff that we've seen Carson do in the past.
Yeah. And didn't we see him just rally?
Yep.
Like just last year, once he got comfortable with the personnel that was out there a little bit, and he was able to make be a good decision maker. So we've seen that ability from him. You know, so you know, I don't know what this year's issue is, but I agree with Tori where it's a little bit of like a pitcher in baseball just can't find it right now. And I think once he finds it, this team goes on a run.
And Harlem, you're out of line, Harlem, with that because I'm not going to say Dak hasn't gotten better, but are you trading you trading Miles for Zeke? You know what I'm saying? You have Amari Cooper, you have CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. You know what I'm saying? Like you have legitimate grown-ups on that. Well, I mean, Zeke's not really a grown-up, but that's for a different reason. But you have legitimate.
He is what pads all know.
Yeah, true. Also, a guy who doesn't get hurt, by the way. Suspended, yes, but hurt, no. So,
come to Philly. We can get you hurt in a second. Watch.
Yep.
That would happen too, right?
What?
No, like say Zeke, came here, he'd be hurt first week.
He'd have a thumb ligament issue.
Nathaniel, what happened to Jared Goff last year? You want to talk about his draft class. So what happened to Jared Goff last year with no Cooper Kupp?
And a limited Todd Gurley. And a banged up offensive line.
Just asking you. I don't want to compare the two, but if you're going to say that he's not progressed, I mean, then riddle me the stretch last year with no 1,000-yard receiver. No quarterback's ever done it. No quarterback ever did the things he did with no 1,000-yard wide receiver. So it just goes back to my point of not getting him a guy on the outside that's a flat-out goddamn pimp. I'm freaking sick and tired of talking about it for years. We just dealt with it for McNabb forever. Like, we didn't want to address it. Right? We finally addressed it as an MVP type year. All right? And then we addressed it down the end of his career with Deshaun and Macklin, and he was way more accurate with the football because he had playmakers out there. I mean, you saw it. It's just common sense. You know what I mean? So if you add them threats on the outside that you trust to go up for balls, you trust to be in spots, you trust to make plays, it makes you as a quarterback less timid to make throws. And I'm not making that as an excuse. I'm just saying, like, that's how it goes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
The act like, DeAndre Hopkins doesn't put Carson in a big time, offensive player of the year type category, etc. is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
The second you get him a weapon like that, I'm telling you, he explodes.
And it's twofold, Tom. You see what it does to Kyler Murray, and you see what it does to Deshaun Watson. You look at the two sides. You look at
Kyler had a good year last year, but again, let's, like, to your point, let's act like it sure as hell doesn't hurt him in year two to get that kind of guy on the outside.
No, and Hopkins had 14 catches in week 1. 14.
they don't even have to worry about having a tight end. I don't even know who their tight end is.
14 catches in week 1 for Hopkins. I don't even know how much he had last week either.
A lot.
Probably up there, yeah.
A lot.
I don't know if he had too many last week. He might only had like 6, but still.
More than Jalen Reagor, I can tell you that.
More than J-Jaw.
More than every Eagles receiver.
Well, I think in the first week of the season, he had more catches than the whole receiving corps. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Marcus, and I don't know if Marcus is still watching.
14 and 8. 14 and 8.
8. Okay.
There you go.
He put up a stat with like Robbie Anderson has like more yards and touchdowns than like all the Eagles receivers so far this year. It's Robbie freaking Anderson. He's no DeAndre Hopkins, but again, guy that we were tied to, guy who, they thought, he's one-dimensional, he's only a deep threat. No, it just turns out Adam Gase's offense sucked. He's everything.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not Mr. Robbie Anderson, but I mean,
I'd gladly take.
I'm Mr. Anyone right now.
I would have taken over what's out here for sure. I would have just drafted Patrick Queen in the first round and went that direction instead. So,
yeah, me too.
Sometimes you can get creative. Sometimes, you know what I mean. You don't have to always be missionary. Sometimes you're allowed to swing her around a little bit. All right.
Howie Roseman's version of creative is, we're going to sign Josh McCown to a virtual contract. That's his creative.
Wait, I was thinking though, is Wentz missing McCown as like a mentor? No, as a mentor.
I mean, maybe a little bit, but he called it.
They can still FaceTime and.
Was it you guys what you posted with Sal Pal, or was it something else I heard about how when Wentz went over to the sideline, sat on the bench, nobody walked over to talk to him.
Yeah, that was us. That was Sal Pal.
Like,
that
okay.
was Sal Pal, but
Yeah.
that was only
Like, that's
So now we're doing
worrisome.
McNabb stuff, though. But now we're doing McNabb stuff. Now we're looking at every little situation and putting a magnifying glass to it, and we're saying, "Look, nobody talked to him."
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I bring up McCown, because McCown was like,
He
I wouldn't
doesn't
say,
anymore.
yeah, like I'm not gonna say McCown was like a legit player on the team, but he was a mentor to Carson, it looked like, and hyped him up on the sidelines when we have no one going over to him. Ertz used to do that, but Ertz is in his own head right now. So who does Wentz have?
But I mean, I don't know. If my guy needs,
I'm just throwing out options for what's in his head.
absolutely. But and I just play devil's advocate with it for a second. Not that I disagree, but I play devil's advocate, and then I say, as a professional quarterback, do you need a pat on the ass and a pacifier every time you come to the sidelines too? So there's two sides to it. Not that I disagree with side one at all. You know what I mean? Because the way this organization's treated them, it's, besides, I mean, they treat him good. They gave him a contract extension, but then they, that trick or treat got shut down just like this year's. So, it's tough. It's tough to say, Tori, because I don't disagree with it. If it happened in a large sample size, but I just gotta believe that is maybe us looking into it too much. Hopefully,
it's problems that Sal Pal said that though to me. Like everyone said, all the media is like looking so in depth to it.
My issue isn't who said it. My issue is, and again, I mean, I can't even do that. I was going to say it's only been a little bit, but it's been more than 24 hours. My problem is this. In the past, maybe we could be looking fully too much into it and we win by 30 on Sunday and it's fine. Maybe that's the case. But in the past, when there would be these reports like that, you'd have his teammates come out and refute it.
Yeah.
Not one. There's nothing. I mean, Lane Johnson, he can't get off Twitter. I mean, he can't stop tweeting.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like you had everybody under the sun come out and defend. Oh, this is ridiculous. This is not true. Nothing. Crickets.
And all the things previously from people or Josina and Alshonimus or Malcolm, whoever said it, everything going in the locker room before this. You know what I mean? Which I never believed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to believe it now. As much as I don't have faith in the Eagles right now, I have faith in Carson a lot. And so it just has me thinking a lot about what was true, what was not, what's going on really behind the scenes.
maybe it's time to just move on from everybody. I mean, I don't know what's left to be said. I mean, we might just have to break up a happy home. Yeah,
It ain't happening.
Daddy's going out to get cigarettes. He'll come back 20.
Right, get off and just start all over.
Daddy went out to go get 2% milk.
Ridiculous.
2% milk, and and he comes
And he
back.
came back with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, he came back 5 years. He came back 5 years later with a mistress. You know what I mean?
That's true, Don. Hello, darkness, my old friend, part 8.
Welcome. Welcome to my life.
Lord had a good comment up there about Lori being burned by T.O. I wonder how much that's still lingering.
It's not a bad theory. It's not.
You know what I mean? I wonder how much that's lingering. I don't like to think that it is, but it
kind of makes
a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Tom.
Guy gives footballs to his blind mother. I mean, how bad of a guy is he? Right? How bad of a guy is he? Let's get a clue. Guy just go catch his balls every week. They don't say 3 words. You know what I mean? He really ain't a big talker. Just goes and catches the football every Sunday. Sometimes Thursday.
Gives it to his blind mother.
I mean, come on. I mean, that doesn't define a good kid. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he was throwing it at her, it's a different story.
Yeah, but Lori does not want to sign any big wide receivers.
In the driveway, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a catch with her and plunking her, and a story for another day. But
simple mistake.
I mean, simple RPOs. put it in the gut. I mean, you know,
How can you not catch it?
I don't got a
Unless
problem.
Unless you're Ortega-Whiteside.
I don't have a huge issue with it.
Yo, I don't want Arcega-Whiteside to see the field. I'm at that point.
That Sons of Anarchy in the back. Whole freaking whole posse rode by.
I live on
Whiteside
295, okay?
Whiteside might need to step in front of one of those.
He should. He's how I felt about Matt Collins last year.
Maybe you start riding one to compensate.
He'll probably miss it. Probably miss the car.
Start cruising one to compensate. That's all.
I closed my window. I don't know how you guys hear that.
We heard it like it was right there.
Sounded like it was in the room.
Welcome to my life. Like, God.
Oh, here we go, Don.
Oh, no.
Here we go, Don. Should I just make him player of the game, Don?
Yeah.
I did do Hightower, so it's not far.
Yeah,
off.
you did do Hightower. Yeah, you did.
All right, kittens. You guys ready for
Yeah.
ready for some
cool cats and kittens?
No, let's not do the Carol Baskin, okay? Let's not do that. We're playing the Bengals. We're playing the Cats this week, all right? Yes, Tom. We're ready for over-unders or whatever. The picks against the spread. I don't even know which show I'm on right now.
Don't worry about it. So let's see what we got here. We'll start with the Thursday night. The Thursday nighter. Clay Ferguson's Jacksonville Jaguars.
Dynamic offense.
Home against the best offense in football. Home against the Dolphins. Jacksonville is giving the Dolphins 3.
Well, I mean, how can I not go Jaguars with their dynamic offense? So
I'm going to go Dolphins. Fitzmagic, baby.
I'm going Fins in this one, too.
Dolphins.
Chrome would be proud.
Give me the Jags.
I'm going Dolphins.
All righty.
So.
I know Sweeps hates me, but that's okay.
Yeah, sorry, Sweeps.
Here's a good matchup, a little 1 o'clock piece. Rams at Bills. Buffalo given 2.
Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Rams.
I can't put enough money on Buffalo.
Now, remember, the Rams are not allowed to stay on the East Coast. They had to fly back home and had to fly back again. So I'm going Bills.
Ooh,
yes,
plain.
Ralphie.
Did you see that thing that they were showing? It was like them
New
back
rule.
and forth the whole country.
Yeah, new rule this year. Can't stay in.
Is that a COVID
back.
rule or is that just a rule?
Yeah. No,
that's a
COVID
COVID rule. Okay.
Yeah.
I
You
didn't know
have
if
to
that
fly
was
back.
Their flight
I don't know if that was
schedule
a thing.
sucks.
And they usually, if it's a West Coast team going East Coast, you can fly out 2 days before. But since the new rule, you have to fly out a day before. So
Yeah, now you're
always got to put that. You got to put that in effect.
Real stupid though.
I'm going Buffalo though.
I'm going Bills. There's been a lot of. People need to start. Nobody in here. People in other shows might be on tomorrow. People need to put some respect on Josh Allen's name. I don't know what. He's a good quarterback. All right.
They're 2-0, correct?
They are, Ralphie. They are.
Oh.
I like watching him.
Man, he's a good quarterback. Yeah.
I mean, this line's weird. Knowing the travel from the Rams, the line's weird to me. It almost makes you want to take it. Almost like entice you for Buffalo. It makes it seem too easy. Give me the Rams.
Okay.
Give me the Rams. Not that I don't love the Bills. I think the Bills are a damn good football team. I think both are actually this year.
We love the Bills.
The line speaking to you, though. I get it.
No, it's just weird. Like,
you're right. You probably expect that to be 4 or 5.
I would just have to imagine their defense is actually going to get to Jared Goff. Maybe 2 fumbles out of Jared to make up for the Joe Montana game this past week.
What's up with Philly teams like making all these people look like superstars? I can't.
Welcome to Philly.
Austin Stive off last night.
It just reminds me of like the Sixers in the playoffs.
Yep, it's like we're playing Atlanta every night in Atlanta or Orlando in Orlando.
Here's a
Mustang.
Something heavy, something big in the trunk there. Something big under the hood there.
My life
might be carrying a piano.
You lift that up. That's a good time.
Hopefully it's carrying Howie.
Yeah, well,
All right, I'm done with my stupid ass jokes.
I'll tell you, whatever he's carrying below deck probably isn't good.
Nope.
That's what she said.
Making up for it for the engine under the hood. So Raiders,
A lot of gadgets.
Raiders at Patriots. New England giving 6.
Dude, the Raiders look nasty.
It's in New England.
Correct.
Who's getting points?
Give me the Pats.
Yeah, I'm gonna go New England.
New England.
Wait, what are the points again?
Raiders
6.
are 6.
Raiders.
Down with the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I'm not saying the Raiders going to win this game, but I'll take them to cover. I'll take them getting 6.
I live on the White Horse Pike, people. Jesus.
All right, so we go to let's see what else we got. Any decent?
And I shut my window.
Cowboys at Seahawks. Seahawks giving 4.5.
Seattle. Never picking Dallas. Seattle.
Seattle.
Seattle wins the game. Dallas covers, though.
Ralphie, you'll like this, Ralphie. I'm gonna do the same thing I did last year. Every time I pick Dallas, and I'm 1-0 so far. Every time I picked Dallas last season, they lost. So I'm picking Dallas.
Good move.
I'll make the sacrifice. Don't trust it though. Don't trust my bet.
Why is someone shocked that I picked the Raiders? Did they not watch the game the other day?
I don't know. Cameron?
Chat too much.
Do you watch football or?
The hook got me with this game. The hook. It's probably, if it's 4, I probably go Seattle. The hook gets me.
I forgot a lot of points are going to be scored in this one. Nick, give me Seattle. Give me Seattle on this one. Packers.
Rouzier and Diggs are hurt? Ooh.
Oh, didn't know that.
Woozier and Diggs are hurt?
Yeah.
Glad I took Seattle. Packers at Saints, New Orleans -3.
Is Michael Thomas back?
I don't believe so.
Do
I
we
don't
know?
believe so. I don't think so.
I know he was in Green Bay getting tested. No Michael Thomas. Give me Aaron Rodgers in the I hate everybody tour.
But is Devontae playing though? That's the only issue.
Give me the Packers.
Is he out too?
Yeah, I'll take Green Bay.
He had
Won't shock me.
they're saying he had a setback with his hamstring, and it's one of these friggin' lingering injuries.
I don't care who's playing. Give me the Pack. All day.
I agree. I'm going Packers.
Who's home?
Green Bay.
No.
Do they have fans?
No. Saints.
Oh, Saints are home. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Packers still.
I'm going Packers.
I'm gonna go Saints have a comeback.
It's all right. Monday nighter, Chiefs at Ravens, Baltimore -3.5.
Ooh.
Tough one here.
I'm
This
gonna
is the
go.
first-
I'm going Baltimore. I'm going Baltimore.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who's Baltimore playing?
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Oh, Christ. We're doing
This
this
is the
early.
first time an MVP played a Super Bowl quarterback since 2005.
Ooh, look at that stat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Baltimore.
Dropping some dimes late at night with the knowledge.
Patrick Queen, 3 interceptions.
Chill.
Game
Oh my
MVP.
God.
Somebody drove by on the Pike and told me that through my window.
Fast and the Furious style.
They just threw me this stat.
Loyalty J, our opinion, he was auditioning to be the Eagles' new medical staff director. That's what he's
100%.
doing.
He's now
And he
working on Carson Wentz.
Yes.
It
and
is
he
pretty
got the
crazy,
job.
though. It is pretty crazy.
Yo,
It may or may not been Herbert's dad.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It's
He
ridiculous.
may stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
and they say you can't sue though because of whatever your contract, but there's got to be a way around that. Like,
I think
Give me the Chiefs, by the way.
Give me Ravens.
I think this is going to be a historic game
Ravens.
for this reason.
It's a regular season game. Lamar's going to go nuts.
Well, but no, this is why I think it's going to be historic. Never before has Patrick Mahomes lost a game by more than 7 points. This will be the day.
Oh, look at your stats. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Wait,
I'm
what
here.
are the points on this game again?
3.5. Ravens
To
are
who?
giving 3.5.
I'm gonna go Ravens. Yeah, I'm a toll collector.
Harlem says, who throws more yards, Wentz or Burrow? Christ.
Wentz.
I would hope Wentz.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Wentz.
I'm going to go Wentz for my sanity.
Last one. Bengals at Eagles. Eagles giving 5.5. Eagles.
Eagles. Go Birds, baby.
I've got the Bengals covering.
Yeah, Bengals cover.
Yeah.
I got the Eagles because I have the Bengals only winning by 2.
Yeah, but
But
you're good. You have to pick the Bengals in.
Yeah.
Eagles are giving them points. So
Eagles are giving them points.
the last
You got outright.
the last question I have for everybody tonight is the Phillies are a half a game out of the last spot,
Mm.
and really half out of 2 because Miami and San Fran same winning percentage, right? So you're half a game behind both of them for the either 7 or 8 spot. So you're down to 3 to go. So did the Phillies make the playoffs?
Like so depressing.
No.
No.
We're not making playoffs.
I'll tell you this. This is how far down I am on this. There's a better chance they don't win another game than they make the playoffs. I'll one-up you, Tori.
You know Wheeler and Nola are going again.
I was gonna say it's Wheeler and Nola, right?
I know.
It's Velasquez, Wheeler, Nola.
Can it not be
Oh,
Velasquez?
jeez.
Can it be Wheeler, Nola, and then Eflin again?
Loss.
We have to win out to make playoffs.
I have them
Yeah,
winning one
And we
more.
also need one of these guys to lose, too.
We're not making the playoffs.
Florida plays the Mets, and we play the Rays.
Loss.
I'm going no.
Just like
Well,
I
said
gotta
last
bring
week,
positivity.
no.
I'm bringing positivity. I'm going yes. We're making the playoffs. God damn it!
So they have to win all 3 games.
They have to win out.
Yes.
Have to
They
win
don't,
all
control,
three.
they don't control their destiny now because of
So
their
even if we
collapse.
win all 3, though,
You
we
still,
can make
yeah.
the playoffs no matter what.
Chance we don't.
No.
They had
There's still a chance we don't. Yeah.
By the way, Giants are winning tonight. So
That would put them a full game up, right?
you're really chasing. Now they have 1, 2, 3. They have 4 games left. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they got 5 games left, the Giants. And we only have 3. So I mean they got the Rockies for 1 more, and then they got the Padres for 4.
So we're betting on Gabe Kapler losing.
Or Miami.
Karma. It's so poetic.
And the only scary thing is San Diego is clinched. Not that they're going to take anything off because it's only 60 games, so you want to keep rolling, but they've already clinched.
You guys know on Sunday night what the percentage chance was of the Phillies making the playoffs? Do you know what it was Sunday night?
87?
86. You know what it was after last night's game?
33.
13.
No, she got
33.
33.
You know what it
In
is now?
2 effing days. What is it now? 0?
Somebody just drove by and told me that.
Okay. Tom?
Tom is done with me.
Thoughts, Tom? Questions, concerns, Tom?
I think he has concerns.
Miami plays the Yankees.
I want to say somehow yes.
Let's go, Tommy.
Somehow yes.
Let's go.
Somehow yes. And I don't like it. I mean, I don't know how.
Oh, yeah. He's right. They do play the Yankees. That's a little better.
Yeah, hearing that one makes it a little bit
A
better.
little better.
So
Thanks, Philly. I think it was Philly Sports Passion.
Mm-hmm.
We got Thomas
Yeah.
Kittle.
yeah. So
Tom
I
needs
got,
a Snickers.
I'll say yes. I think they get in. I think maybe they win 2 out of 3, and Miami and Milwaukee lose 2 out of 3. It might be something like that, where you get in that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's actually the last thing I'll say real quick. It's actually crazy that I'm saying this, that like the fact that, because like the last 2 years when we've collapsed, like when we really collapsed, we didn't even get to this point to where like it was the final week and we were talking about like who we need to lose. Like we didn't even we haven't been at this point in a while.
That's
and
exciting.
I'm saying this being the guy who thinks they're not going to win another game this year. Like I think the win that happened like 2 hours ago was the last win. It is kind of refreshing that we actually get to have this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we got to watch this team and we got to it feels good. It's not going to feel good in a couple of days, but it feels good now. I'll tell you that much.
To me.
Hopefully not, Jay. Hopefully not, man.
Really,
But
I don't know. They better. That's all I
need
can tell
to.
you. I mean,
yeah, they need to.
I don't know how I feel about it. Honestly, it's weird. But I'll tell you.
December 24th, 12:48, and JT's still not signed.
Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you one thing that would be totally Philly, and we can wrap it up on this is we would win the Velasquez game and lose the next 2.
And lose Noah Wheeler.
Yep. I mean that would sum up this year.
Just like we
Yeah.
did with the Nationals. We lost Noah Wheeler and won F1.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
We would do something like that. So
I don't know why they can't change the schedule though to Nola Wheeler than Eflin again.
Days of rest for the guys, for the pitchers to keep them healthy.
But who cares when there's no games left after this?
Well, if you get in the playoffs, there's games.
Potentially. Yeah.
And if you're rearranging your schedule, they may have to rearrange the schedule though anyway. And I don't know how it's going to work because if you go Nola on the last game of the year, you potentially not have him pitch in the first round of the playoffs because it's only a best of 3. And if you're able to get in, I think every one of us would put Wheeler and Nola up against any team in the National League and take our chances, right? Wheeler and Nola and our offense versus any team in a 3-game series. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's roll the baseballs out. Let's go.
Yeah.
But if that happens, if Nola has to pitch that last game of the year, he's out of the 3-game series.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, other guys got to win games, and got to throw strikes and get some outs. So we'll see. This time next week, hopefully, again, we're having a better conversation. But
definitely,
yep,
been a ton of fun, everybody. We thank
yes, it has.
Thank everybody for joining us out there, and if you haven't already, follow, like, subscribe. You know the deal. You can catch us on every podcast form you're at too. Like, subscribe, follow there. And shows every day here, every night. So tomorrow night you get a little birds of a feather, a little hockey happy hour. Jimmy takes you on Friday. You guys know the deal. I mean, it shows all the time. Get all your HUD merch. See it right there, phillydrinkers.com/HUD radio. Fall line starting to come out a little at a time here. So get your dabble on. Get your dabble. All right. For Tom Arnone, Ryan Brodo, Ralph Delvecchio, Greg Milakovic, Tori from the highway, and everybody out there joining us. We love you guys. Keep bringing the support. Takeover's real. So's Bet.